Okay, good evening. Good evening. Magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome ho sa ating program. Ako po si Sunny Laragan. At syempre, ako po ang alalay nung nandito sa aking, tama ba yan? Dito sa aking, sa aking kanan ko rito, no? Pero sa screen ho nyo, nasa kaliwa ho. Good evening, good evening. Ako po si Sunny Laragan. Like I said, welcome sa ating program. Information time again sa ating palatuntunan. Ano tawag dito? May tawag dito. Happy Thursday. According to dito sa aking dito, ating kasama na ating resident immigration expert dito po sa Immigration Corner with Attorney LIRA Simon CABATBAT. Attorney, magandang gabi sa iyo. Oops, sorry. Nawala ang iyong audio. Ayun, sorry. Go, yes.
So, happy Thursday.
Yes. Galing sa yan, original. Happy Thursday. Good evening. Uy, dumidilim na, attorney, ha? Madilim-dilim na ngayon, no? Unlike before. Parang summer has gone already. Autumn time.
Yeah. Well, mainit pa nga rin, no? Yung, at least hindi umuulan. Gaano?
Aha. Okay, kahapon ba yun o the other day? Hindi ko alam kung totoo yung, kung nasira talaga yung sasakyan ko. 29 degrees up to around, anong oras yun? Mga 4, 5, 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah. So,
I don't know if you, hindi ko sigurado. Kasi I was looking, when you're driving, sometimes nakikita mo, meron temperature doon, di ba? Yung, ano ba yan? External temperature ba yan? Yung kung tawagin? So,
yeah, mainit pa rin. Yeah.
yes, oo. Good evening. Magandang gabi sa iyo and it's nice to see you again. It's Thursday once again. So, syempre, pagka gantong araw, ano yan, no? Immigration time. Tonight nga pala, anong pag-uusapan mo kung may maganda tong ating topic na yung di-discuss for tonight, no? Ayan, no?
Yeah. Yung nga, yung sabi yan, no? When things go wrong with British passport applications, so ang laki yung pag-uusapan nga natin ngayon. So, hopefully, it's useful to our viewers nga. And good evening to everyone. So, it's nice. It's always a pleasure for you to join us nga. So, pag-usapan po natin ngayon yung British passport applications or rather the stage before British passport applications, no? So, to get a British passport application, ang unang-unang kailangan yung gawin is you need to get naturalized. So, you need yung naturalization certificate. So, kung naririnig nyo minsan merong sabi nila, oh, you need to do your oath taking. That's what it is. That's the end of the naturalization process. Pero kailangan nyo yun bago kayo makakakuha ng British passport. So, now, sabihin natin, may indefinite na kayo o permanent resident sa UK, gusto niya magpasok ng British passport application, gusto niya maging British, sometimes mga tao nga, dual sila. Now, oftentimes, nagugulat mga kalayante ko when they get refusals because they think, okay, straightforward yun o kaya even automatic. Now, beware. It can be straightforward, but it's never automatic. And talaga, things can still go wrong. So, gustong pag-usapan nga ngayon is those things that can go wrong with particular attention to one thing. I mentioned this. I want to concentrate on this dahil nga one of our viewers last week, actually, she very kindly raised the issue nga with me. And it's to do with ano bang mangyayari kung meron kang immigration issues. Magkakaproblema ka ba pagka nagpasok ka ng application for naturalization and British passport? And the answer is absolutely. There are possible problems. But not many people actually realize na, it's not, pagka nakakuha ng indefinite leave to remain, hindi ibig sabihin na yun tapos na, that everything else is automatic, because it's not. So although mag-concentrate tayo dun sa past immigration issues, immigration background, I'll just briefly discuss other potential problems, but I'll kind of run through them fairly quickly. Kung gusto niyo pag-usapan mamaya, of course, hindi problema, just raise it with me. So, things that can go wrong or can affect badly an application for naturalization and therefore yung British passport application is, for example, criminality. So, if you've been subject to conviction, tapos nakulong ka. O kahit hindi ka nakulong, that could have issues. But mainly where you have been in prison. Pangalawa, financial unsoundness. So, bankruptcy bankruptcy, for example, no? Utang sa NHS, sa home office, or even council tax debt, no? Deception or dishonesty. So sabihin natin hindi mo sinabing yung tunay mong birthday. You made yourself either younger or older. I know that some people have had that issues. Residence requirements. So if you've been absent from the United Kingdom for longer than is required, no? Physical presence in the UK. Now that's quite an interesting one, and most people don't know about it. So we can deal with that in more detail. But basically, kung nagpasok ng application and the application is on the basis of the 5 years or indeed 3 years, you need to have been present in the UK at the time na nagpasok ka ng application. But we can deal with that in a bit more detail later on. Now, you also need to show you have knowledge of life in the UK and English language. There are some exemptions, but not many. Okay? Pero kailangan nyo pa rin pakita yun. The other thing is suitability of referees. So sometimes I've actually had clients who ginamit nila na referee yung asawa nila. That's not allowed. So certain things nga can go wrong. But the main thing nga that goes wrong, or the most common problem, is past immigration issues. So ito. An application, so ang sabi ng batas? Ang sabi ng batas, where an applicant has not been compliant with UK immigration rules in the 10-year period prior to the date of the application will normally be refused. Yun sabi ng batas. Now, so basically it comes down to unsuitable character. No? So, what could amount to immigration problems? So overstaying. So pumasok ka dito, sabihin natin turista, and then you overstayed, no? Illegal entry. Pumasok ka dito, ibang pangalan mo o ibang details mo. Working in the UK without permission. So sabihin natin estudyante ka, hindi ka pwedeng magtrabaho, pero nagtrabaho ka, no? Failure to report when you're required to do so. So you were on bail, home office bail, but you then did not report. That's also can be regarded unsuitable character. Obtaining public funds when you're prohibited to do so. So if you had limits, if spouse visa ka, you had limits as to what you can claim for benefits, but you claimed it anyway, and then you were found out. That could also be character. So the 10-year bar. So sabihin natin you had all those issues in the past. Nevertheless, nakakuha ka ng visa, and indefinite ka na nga ngayon, no? It doesn't mean though, kahit indefinite ka na, hindi ibig sabihin nga na tuloy-tuloy na makakakuha ka ng British passport or naturalization. Because the Home Office may say, yung sabi nga yung sabing batas, where an applicant has not been compliant with UK immigration laws in the 10-year period prior to the date of the application will normally be refused. Now, in 10 years, when does it start? The 10-year bar will start running from the time the unlawful conduct stopped. So, kung nakakuha ka ng visa nga, sabihin natin, I'll give you an example to. In 2000, sabihin natin, overstayer ka. Tapos, you got a visa in 2011, no? So, 11 years. Say as a spouse, no? Tapos, by 2016, 5 years later, nakakuha kang indefinite leave to remain. So, settled status ka na ngayon. Now, under the 10-year bar, you will not succeed with your application because the 10-year bar continues through to 2021. No? Then at the time, in 20, you didn't get your visa until 2011. So you need to add 10 years. So next year, if you apply now, ma-refuse yung application mo. But if you apply next year, it should be okay. Now, there are what's called discretions when you're making these types of applications. So, if you have this problem, it could be na you have a good reason why the problem came about. So, for example, overstaying, no? Kung may nangyari nga, sasabihin natin, you had a visa, but then that expired, but that was because you had domestic violence issues, sabihin natin, you didn't feel that you could make the application dahil nga you were afraid that malalaman nga ng asawa mo na kung nasaan ka, and because of that your visa then lapsed. So you can argue na okay, you had an immigration problem, but hindi mo naman kasalanan na nangyari yun, no? The biktima ka nga, no? So if you know you already have the problem, it's probably worth bearing in mind and actually making representations pagka nagpasok ka ng application sa home office. So that way, hopefully, they will then exercise their discretion in your favor. So they don't have to refuse it, but they will normally refuse it if they think that there are no good reasons why they should grant you your naturalization. So if you don't get naturalized, ibig sabihin, you can't then get a British passport. So now, also bear in mind, kahit nga lang it's a short, overstaying, yeah, that's still, of course, overstaying. And that means on that basis, they can still refuse you your naturalization application. So, bago nyo papasok, so tip ko ito, bago nyo papasok yung application, kung alam nyo meron nga kayong problema, it may be an idea, certainly, to raise it, no, in advance. So, submit it with your representations nga. Or it could be na kung maghintay kayo ng konti din, no, maybe in the example I gave, just wait another year. It may be better to just wait another year. So, lagpas na kayo ng 10 years. And then that way, hindi nyo masasayang yung pagbayad nyo sa home office. I mean, pag nagpasok yung application, kung refuse nila, hindi nila ibabalik yung pera nyo. And at the moment, the fee for naturalization stands at £1,330. No? So, ang laki. So, it's if you think you have a problem, it's worthwhile just taking advice to see if it's even worth pursuing now or not yet. Kung kailangan nyo maghintay, then maybe better if you actually wait. But okay, kung hindi kayo makaintay, ayaw maghintay, then at least make nga the representations, especially if you know that the problem is there. And the problem won't go away. Tsaka hindi nila makakalimutan. No? It's your record is there. Makikita nila yun. So it's best really to address it if you think that it is indeed an issue. Now, just bear in mind, yung pinag-usapan natin ngayon, naturalizations to do with adults. No? Different rules will apply as regards children. So there again, there's some discretion. I mean, we can discuss the issue of children certainly later on if people are interested. But bear in mind, as I say, past immigration problems can affect and can result to refusal nga in naturalization applications, which would obviously be quite a disappointment to say the least, and it could be quite important also kung kailangan mong British passport. No? So beware.
Ayun na, attorney. Yun na ang ating discussion. Okay. Naku, napaka-interesting pala nitong discussion natin sa gabing ito, no? Dahil, siyempre, no, after achieving yung ILR, as sabi mo nga, no, it's never automatic to be attaining your British passport or yung naturalization. Naturalization means getting a British passport, di ba? Pag naturalize ka. Okay.
Yeah. So yung una po, yung may visa ka, tapos makakuha indefinite permanent residence.
Yes.
Pagka indefinite ka na, the next thing really is naturalization. Then the final thing is yung British passport. You can't get the British passport without the naturalization.
Without the naturalization. Okay. Bago ako magtatanong, may mga tanong-tanong ko, very interesting tong diniscuss mo. Acknowledge lang natin yung ating mga unang bumati sa atin. Attorney? Let's just say hello to, ano ba to? Ito, tingnan natin yung ating mga valedictorian dito na bumabati sa atin. Asa na ba yan? Ito. Teka muna, asa na ba yan? Okay, ito. Ayan. Teka muna, iba pala ito. Mali yata ito. Sandali lang. Sandali lang. May bumabati sa ating kanina. Asa na ba yan? Tama na yung kaninang nakita natin. But anyway.
The devil.
Hindi, si Glon Marie. Ano ba? Itong unang bumati sa atin. Si Glon Marie Rose Casino Martinez. Good evening po, Ma'am LIRA and Sir Sunny. Sandali. Ayusin lang natin muna. At Hindi, sige. Simulan ko na muna sa mga tanong natin. Attorney, okay, criminality, no? Ano ba ang medyo makakalusot na criminality? What do you say criminality? Ito ba yung medyo malala na konti na they had to be imprisoned? May criminality ba na hindi ka na-imprison? Meron ba rito na criminality? Kamaka sa Pilipinas, pagka ang sentensya sa'yo, I think kung less than 3 years yata, nakalimutan ko na, may tinatawag na, yung parang, ano ba tawag doon, yung hindi kayo makukulong parang parang I forgot the term
Suspended.
Recognition ba? Recognizance, parang ganun hindi ka makukulong basta a certain may parang ganun
Yeah.
Ganun ba rito? What would bar you from criminality? Yung sinasabing criminality, ano ba example? Siyempre, yung mga usual ng rape ka, pumatay ka, na theft, yun, malalaki yun. Pero, nasa ang border? Saan ang pwedeng you might have had some infraction of the law, pero tipong exempt, makakalusot pa? Ano kaya yun? Meron ba?
It boils to the sentences, no? So it's not so much nga kung anong ginawa nga nila, but of course, if it's something like murder or rape or anything like that, then clearly the sentence would be high enough to disbar them. So actually, I have a list here, so I'll certainly say, no. So prison sentences nga 4 years or more. So may get ng 4 na taon. Death normally hindi doesn't have to be, but normally indefinite bar to naturalization. Indefinite means exactly that. You can't ever, no. Now sentences between 12 months hanggang 4 years can lead to a bar of 15 years to naturalization. So it's still quite substantial.
So 1 to 4 years?
So up 4 years plus, no?
Okay.
So sabihin natin kung ano man kung ano man ginawa mo,
Okay.
ang sentence mo imprisonment of 4 years or 4.5 years, sabihin natin 4 years plus, no? The first thing is it's an indefinite bar to naturalization.
So hindi ka na pwede?
Tama.
Oo.
Yeah.
So walang 10 years, walang 5 years, walang 11 years. So indefinite yun, barred ka na kagad. If you were sentenced to 4 years, over 4 years. So less than 4 years, pwede pa.
Yeah.
Kaya may limitation.
Yeah, may limit. So 12 months to 4 years, it's 15 years bar to naturalization, no?
Okay, 15 years.
So 15, opo.
Matagal-tagal, no?
Yeah. So sentences of less than 12 months,
less than 1 year,
could mean a bar of for period of 10 years, no? So patagal pa rin, 10 years. Now, other types of non-custodial sentences, no? So yung hindi you didn't go to prison, yeah, can lead to a 3-year ban, no? So it's still quite a while. Now, fixed penalty notices, so sabihin natin, traffic offenses, mga ganoon, they should be disregarded, no? Yung nga lang kung lagi mong ginagawa, so you driving without a license, you got fixed penalty notice there, o points nga, kung lagi nga yung nangyayari, then it could be, although they would normally say, that should be disregarded, it could be that lagi nga nangyayari that they will say that makes you therefore unsuitable, no? You're of unsuitable character and therefore you should not get it. So they can still refuse it. Now, there's no time bar, so ibig sabihin, you refuse it, they refuse it today, you can always, make another application next year. But they can keep refusing it kung akala nila you're someone not of good character. So so as I've said, so going to the very top, going to the very worst, 4 years plus, indefinite bar to naturalization.
Ano yung custodial? Anong custodial? Parang biglang nag-away kayo ng girlfriend mo, nagkakurutan kayo, nagsumbong na sinasaktan mo, hinuli ka o inaresto ka, yun na ba yung ibig sabihin nun? Custodial? May record ka na ba nun?
No, not always. So kung may mangyari nga, yung nga, sabi mo.
Ano example ng custodial na sinasabi mo? Because pagka custodial, tipong, 3 months, ano ba yan?
Yeah.
Kasi less than 1 year, 10 years. 12, sorry. 12, tama, less than 1 year yata, 10 years. 12
10 years.
months over 1 year and up to 4 years, 15 years. Di ba?
Yeah.
Pag over 4 years, indefinite. Parang ano, no? Oo. Yung custodial, ano mga example na custodial, attorney? Para at least alam din ng mga kababayan natin. Baka sakaling alam mo na. No?
Yeah, No, I think importante nga yun, pag-usapan natin maigi. So, custodial means really yung sentence mo after you've been found guilty, no? So, kung yung nga, nagka-problema ka sa girlfriend mo, hinuli ka, tapos, they've taken you away, they've detained you maybe for one night nga, tapos pinalabas ka, then that on its own, there's no conviction, not even a charge potentially, no? That on its own would not necessarily be a bar against naturalization. Pero kung sabihin natin, may nangyari nga, hinuli ka, no? And then you were charged, no? And you were found to have assaulted her. Tapos, you get a sentence of, say, 3 years, no? Under the current guidelines, there's a potential bar against you for 15 years. So, it can be quite crucial, no?
Pero ito, lahat, attorney, lahat na ito, nakapag-apply ka na, you successful ka, kinabukasan may nangyari kang criminal record, wala na, no? Hindi na pwedeng, ano ba tawag doon? No exposed fact, iba naman exposed facto law, no? Any law na has a retroactive effect. Ayun, retroactive effect. I'm looking for the word retroactive effect. Citizen ka na, nakuha mo na yung naturalization mo, you committed something like a criminal thing, hindi retroactive yan. Once you've got your naturalization, British ka na. Kaya may napatay ka the following day, wala na, di ba? Hindi naman matatanggal yan.
Yeah. Well, no, not exactly. So, if you become British, they can rescind your citizenship, no? And more commonly, nakita nga natin yon in relation to those people who have gone to fight with ISIS. Even though they were British, were British then became British in the United Kingdom, some of their citizenships were revoked. No, so an example that I comes to mind is yung ang tawag sa kanya Jihadi Jack. No, he had a dual citizenship, I think, and I think he was. The other citizenship he has is I think Canadian nga, no? So ang ginawa ng British, they took away his citizenship, and although he still has Canadian citizenship, I think he's essentially stuck there at the moment. But so they rescinded his citizenship, so they can rescind it. Now it's a question really of whether they would rescind it, no? Now kung if you also have to disclose actually any pending criminal matters. So kung hindi mo sinabi, nagpasok ng application nga ngayon, no? O nagpasok ng application 6 months ago, hindi mo sinabi doon na you were caught doing burglary or something like that, no? Or indeed something even worse, you killed someone, pero hindi mo dineclare, no? Alusot ka because there was no conviction yet, no? Even if they checked, and then you got your British passport, sabihin natin nga today, you got naturalized today. Pwede ba nilang iurong? Absolutely, because you failed to make a full disclosure. It's deception. So they will say you obtained your naturalization by deception, so they can take it back, no? Pero kung if it's gone further, sabihin natin nakakuha na siyang British passport, that on its own does not stop them from rescinding it. So it depends on the seriousness of the offense. Ano bang nangyari? And as I say, at the moment they are limiting those cases where they pull the citizenship, where yung applicant nga is a potential security issue, no? to the United Kingdom.
Pero kung hindi
But
napansin
yeah,
yun, for example, hindi napansin na meron ka palang ganyan, let's say meron kang pending something, if they don't find out, hindi naman sila very proactive na naghahanap naman, searching you out or you know really scrutinizing your application. Hindi naman siguro masyado, no? So in that case, you can just
no,
be quiet. Can you just
no,
be quiet?
no,
Tahimik ka
no.
lang?
No, they do scrutinize.
They do.
Actually.
Okay, all right.
It may have been, yeah, absolutely. It was different. I think the reality is nga, no, it was different certainly maybe 10 years ago, maybe even as long as as recent as 5 years ago, but certainly 10 years ago. But ngayon na, I mean, where there's, apart from social media, of course, it's much easier now to check via computers, and authorities are more linked now, the police, the CPS, the Home Office, in an event, they're all immigration data, so they're all linked, So no, absolutely they check, and actually they go further now. They even check if you've been the subject of bankruptcy proceedings, so if there's a bankruptcy order against you. So that's one of the.
Yeah.
They check it as a matter of.
Papunta nga ako sana doon sa financial unsoundness na sinasabi mo. Yan, yung mga bankruptcies, ano ba yan? Yung mga, ano pa ba mga, ano yan? Yung benefits, parang ganun, yung benefit cheating, ganun, yung ba yan? Would be one of those?
Yeah.
Ano pa ba yung mga financial unsoundness? Paano, how do they, hindi naman sinasabing wala kang pera sa bangko, no? Unsoundness would be what? Like yung bankruptcies, nanggugulang ka sa, nagkiklaim ka ng benefits wherein you were not entitled to in the first place? Ganun ba? Ano mga example nito? How would you further explain this financial unsoundness, attorney?
Yeah. So financial unsoundness is not, it's a different problem if you claim benefits and you shouldn't have, no? But financial unsoundness generally mean bankruptcy, or if your company if you're dealing with a company, liquidation of that company. Now, actually, it's good that you raise that as an issue. So, dahil ito, at the moment, ang daming mga tao, I mean, it's probably not as bad yet, but but I suspect it will get worse. Maraming mga tao that may well become bankrupt, no? Or companies that go into liquidation, and it's not necessarily through a fault of their own, but it's just the economy issue. Now, so strictly speaking, you can be refused your naturalization if you've had a bankruptcy order against you, or you're a company director and your company has been liquidated nga. But as with most of these things, yung Home Office meron silang discretion. So my advice is, especially those who are now affected by the current economic situation nga, and it's not really through their fault of their own. I would say, pagka nagpasok yung application and meron kang bankruptcy order, make representations. So sabihin mo, well, I suspect what happened with a lot of people is they were making a living, maybe even a good living, no? Tapos naapektuhan sila nitong COVID and the economic downturn because of it, especially kung travel industry, hospitality, restaurants, so anything like that. Make representations. Pagka nagpasok kayong application, sabihin nyo doon, okay, just full and frank disclosure, you've had a bankruptcy order nga, makikita naman nila, So, but the reason for that is this, and ask them to exercise their discretion nga in your favor. So with a lot of these things, ang batas sabi doon, as I've said, where an applicant has not been compliant with UK immigration laws in the 10-year period prior to the date of the application will normally be refused. So ibig sabihin, it doesn't say that it must be refused. So there's some element nga of discretion on part of the Home Office. So ask them, sabihin mo sa kanila, paliwanag nyo, ito nga ang nangyari, hindi ko naman kasalanan, but it's just, circumstances just led nga to this, and you're doing your best, okay, you discharge debts as far as you can, so you own, but so don't just give up on it, explain it.
You keep on saying, attorney, make representations. Ano ba yan? Parang Hindi ko alam kung yung representations ba yan is prior to filing the application because you would like to be clear because like you were mentioning earlier, hindi ko alam kung tama yung pagkakarinig ko dahil wala nang balikan yung pera mo eh. Di ba? Kaya you have to make clear, you have to make representations before you put in your application because it might, well, it'd be a loss of the money itself, the application. So, ano yan? What is a representation? Is a representation like on a piece of blank paper? You're explaining, gano'n, na parang, or nagko-query ka pa lang, and then ipapasok mo muna sa home office yan before because you'd like to find out muna what they will say before kung okay, saka mo na ipapasok ang application mo o sabay na ba yan? You make your application and on top of that or as an addendum, you make a representation, gano'n ba? Like an essay, hey, well, Your Honor or whatever, I should be given this or this is the reason why I was bankrupt or this is the reason why I overstayed. Ano ba yan? Is it something that you do before or is it on top of your application? Or is it something on the safe side you ask first before you make the formal application? Paano ba yan? Representations. Tama ba yung question ko, attorney? Baka mukhang magulo yata yung tanong ko.
Tama po.
Tama, okay. Kinaklaro ko lang. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, tama. Then, it's a very valid question. Dahil gusto, do you submit your representations nga, unang-una anong representations? And if once our representations not submitted before the application, after the application, or with the application? The answer is with the application. So magkasabay, no? So pagka nagpasok ang application, kung alam mo may problema naman, nung mo din ilagay, okay, i-explain, alam ko ito ay problema. I'm dealing with it this way. Now, it doesn't have to be an essay, no? It can also be sulat nga lang, no? And don't make it too long. To the point and address that specific issue. So, kung naging bankrupt ka, nagpasok ng application, and alam mo mayroon kang bankruptcy order. So, lagay mo sa sulat, usually, when you submit an application, ilalagay mo naman doon sa sulat, ano bang papasok mo, anong papadala mo, so that you have a record also kung anong pinadala mo sa home office. So, ilagay mo din doon, in relation to my application, I am aware that I have had a bankruptcy order made on whatever day. The reason for this is, nagay mo doon. So, i-explain mo nga, paano ba nangyari? No? So, the answer to your question is sabay. Not before, not generally after, pero sabay nga.
Okay. So, parang okay. So, sabay. Pero yan, it will only be more or less, you will not know it on your own. Alam mo, although alam nila, pero ang lalabas niyan, that would be more clarified if they consult an immigration lawyer. No? Parang kasi interview, like you, for example, ako, kunyari, o sino man, parang gusto ko na mag-apply ng, naturalization. Siyempre, on my own, yung mga sinasabi mo representations, parang hindi natin alam kung paano gawin yan. Although sinasabi mo on a piece of paper or it doesn't have to be very long, hindi dapat essay type. Just to support yung yung probable na feeling mo may problema ka na parang violation mo, no, or parang magiging ground for refusing yung naturalization mo. Yan mas nalalaman niya pag kinausap ang solicitor, no? Ganun ba?
Yun na po, tama ka. And that's really, the solicitor's job, no? So, pagka meron kong kliyente, I take them through really the list, no? Of possible problems, that especially kung ang problema is years ago, no, and it's not na nakalimutan nga nila, but it could also be na they don't think it's a problem. So it's for the solicitor to say, okay, these are the potential issues na I need to know about. So you ask the questions, okay, have you been convicted of any criminal offense? No, meron ka bang bankruptcy? So the solicitor must also ask, okay, did you owe the NHS or the Home Office any money? Are there any issues nung pumasok ka nga dito? Residence requirements, that's quite important also. Yung physical presence mo, but okay, those are not fault issues, but they are factors to look at. And the solicitor should also say, okay, nasa nga yung pumasa ka na ba knowledge of life in the UK and yung English language, make sure na tama certificate, suitability of referees. So yun, tama ka. It's really the solicitor should really guide you through ano bang kailangan nating tingnan. Just to double check, are there potential issues? Dahil kung may issues nga, better to know it now and then address it, no? Rather than pabayaan mo and then you suddenly just get a refusal. Actually, just on that, and this is an issue that I've had a good few times, unfortunately. Meron akong mga kliyente, they made an application nga, no? For naturalization. Tapos, na-refuse daw because one client actually, it was because of fare evasion, no? So sabi nila that she actually had she was convicted of fare evasion. Hindi niya alam, no? The reason na hindi niya alam is lumipat siya, no? She didn't have a forwarding address. So yung korte nga sumulat sa bahay niya pero wala na siya doon, hindi niya nakuha. And in fact, she didn't actually know about the fare evasion until later. I mean, it was okay in the end because of course it's fare evasion and really, sabi namin, it should have been disregarded given that that was the only thing. I mean, they reversed it, but nevertheless, it was a bit of a shock to her that she was convicted of fare evasion. So it's not. My tip would be, it's quite important actually. Pagka lilipat kayo, and a lot of people are quite fluid nga yung mga address nila. It's a good idea to provide a forwarding address to the post office. So yung sulat nyo, doon babagsak sa panibagong yung bahay. So you don't miss anything out. And you should really do that. It's a good idea to do that, say for 12 months after you move, just in case something like this happens. And as I've said, sometimes these things happen and you weren't expecting it. Hindi mo din alam na nangyari nga, no? And then you forget about it until it goes wrong.
So una pala parang naging ground sa kanya and then ni-reverse din eventually. Para kasi you were able to argue it, no? Na ano. Yung mga ganyan, ano lang, fair, it's just a criminal, a record lang na ganun. Ano ba yan? May incarceration din ba ang fair, ano? Or is it just a penalty? Babayaran lang?
Yeah, it's a fixed penalty notice.
Fixed penalty. Okay.
So that's why we were saying, at sabi ko nga sa Home Office, well, this is it's a fixed penalty notice. It should not have been it should have been disregarded to begin with anyway, no?
Okay.
And the annoying thing nga doon it wasn't even her fault. It's just sabi niya, fare evading, but actually yung bintana, where you pay the extra fare, sarado. And she was in a bit of a rush. So she left.
Yeah, all right.
That's how she got then into trouble. So it wasn't even her fault.
Yep. Okay. All right. Some greetings dito and we have some questions, no? Okay. Well, pwede ho kayo magtanong kung medyo may tanong kayo na hindi related dito sa pinag-uusapan natin, no? Ito kasi yung what can go wrong when you apply for naturalization, no? Or getting or obtaining your British passport. Lahat naman hurang saklaw naman ng immigration dito pwede yung itanong, no? But in the meantime, ito ready na, pwede natin batiin yung mga unang mga bumati sa atin, no? Attorney, ayan. Ano ba nakasulat diyan? Ano ba nakasulat diyan? Good evening po, Ma'am LIRA and Sir. Ayan, tama 'yon. Kay ano pangalan niyan?
Marie.
Oo nga, haba. Rose. Oh, yes. Good evening. Thank you very much. Siya ang unang nag-message sa atin. Si Meng Ibe, sabi ni Meng Ibe, good evening po. Yan, bumabati lang sa atin. So maraming salamat, no? We'd like to acknowledge their mga pagbati. Yeah. And then, sino tong bumati na to? Si good evening. Ano pangalan niya? Ami Alonte. Alonte ba yan? Alunte Kahukom. Yes. Ikaw nga, Tony, nababasa mo ba? Ikaw nga magbasa nga. Mas malinaw ang mata mo sa akin. Sige nga.
So, ito po. Yeah, so, good evening, Sonny and Attorney Lira from Emmeline Rafael.
Yes, Emmeline. Yan, naku, number one fan natin dito. Nanonood yan. Emmeline, mabuhay ha. Sige.
Yeah, hello, Emmeline.
Yes. Eto.
Emmeline, hindi Emmeline.
Emmeline, yes. Emmeline, yan. Maganda ang buhok ni Emmeline Rafael. Maganda ang hair niya.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah. So ito, good evening Sir Sonny, Attorney Lira Kabatbat, and all. Si galing kay Cora
Yes,
Carsola.
Cora
Hello, Miss
Carsola.
Carsola.
Yes, okay. Si Ma'am Cora Carsola, naging teacher sa aking eskwelahan kung saan ako nag-aral, no? Ayan.
Talaga?
Notre Dame, yes, of Greater Manila. But she was in the grade school department nung panahon na yan. Nasa high school kami noon, no? Pero Ma'am Carsola, mabuhay, ha? Yan. Okay, Edgardo Cagacian Enriquez, ano ba sabi niya?
Oh, sabi niya dito, good evening Kuya Sonny and Attorney Lira, and to all watching from Canada, Water, London. Kamusta po?
Mabuhay, mabuhay, Edgardo. Ito yung ating mga regular na friends. Sabihin na natin friends of our program and the station. Okay, yan. Ito yung napaka-sipag na magano yan. Na sumubaybay at tumulong sa atin, no? Para sa suporta
Yun na
ng
nga.
station. Darmin Ballerino
Maganda
yan.
po.
Yeah, good evening. Ito yung best friend natin. Ayan.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, my favorite. So, hi, good evening po, Sir and Ma'am. Thank you for everything, Ma'am. Oh, my pleasure po, Miss B.
Oo nga,
Always my pleasure.
dapat gumawa ka nga ng ano tawag dito, Lira Kabatbat Club. Ano ba 'yun? Yung mga 'di ba? Yung mga who were helped by you, no? Assisted by you in the pursuit of their ano ba 'yan? Achievements, ano ba yan? Betterment of their lives, no? Ginanon pa ang ating termino. Hinabaan. Okay. Ito, babasahin ko lang yung mga tanong dito. May mga tanong dito, attorney, no? Hindi lumabas sa system natin, eh. Ito si Rosenda Laureano Sotelo. Ang question niya, hello, good evening, attorney and Sunny. Ask ko lang, kasi ang visa ko is 10 years. Bale, 2022 ang siguro expiration niya. Ask ko lang kung in case mag-renew ako, ilang years ba ang ibibigay niya ulit? Thanks. Mukhang ano lang yan, application lang yan.
Yeah,
How many years ba yan? 10?
10 years. It's really a question. So it should be, hindi pa, 10 years na ba siya dito? Yeah, that's the thing. Kailangan natin
10 years na raw siya. 10 years, bale, 2020 ang expire niya. Teka muna, hindi ko maintindihan. Is she saying na may British passport na siya? Na mag-expire ng 20, ano to? 10 years daw ang visa niya. So, bali 2020 ang expiration. That's gonna be 2 years from now. I think, di ba, 10 years. At saka yung bagong passport na lalabas ngayon, di ba? May bagong passport na ba?
Yeah.
Pwede na ba tayo ng bago na kulay, ano ba kulay? Blue? Ano ba ang passport na bago?
Yeah, balik na naman tayo ng kulay, I think blue ata, no? Blue. Or kind of dark blue uli. I haven't actually seen one, no? But yeah, balik na naman tayo because of course, Brexit nga. So, ito po, yung question niya, it could be a number of things. Yung 10 years na sinabi niya. So, it could be na nakakuha siya ng visa, unang-una, nearly 10 years ago, no? So, ang nakuha nga niya, 2.5. So, ngayon, ito yung last extension niya. So, by 2022, 10 taon na siya dito. Kung magsasampung taon na siya by 2022, next time magpapasok siya ng application, kung yun ang visa binigay nga sa kanya under the 10-year, it should then be indefinite na. So, settlement status ng application niya. So, ibig sabihin, walang expiry date. No? So, that could be one possibility. The other possibility, I suppose, is kung nakakuha na nga siya ng indefinite na nga siya, yung nga lang mapapaso na yung tatak in say in 2022. So that's it could be that, in which case she should not worry because indefinite na siya. Indefinite is indefinite, no? So Miss Sotelo, no?
Sotelo.
Just clarify to us. Yeah. Just clarify to us nga. Ibig bang sabihin hindi ka pa indefinite nga ngayon?
Okay. Hindi, muntik na maalala nga pala. Teka muna. Hindi ko na i-flash yung ating, but siguro next week na lang siguro. Pwede, kasi gusto natin i-allow din sila magtanong, attorney. Pwede rin direkta. Next week ho siguro, ang gagawin ho natin, pwede rin ho kayong magtanong via Zoom kung gusto ho nyong kayo na. Kasi kamukha niyan, minsan ang mga tanong hindi pa ganong kompleto. It would be best kung mismo tatawag kayo at magtatanong ng direkta. At the same time, makikinabang din yung ating mga kababayan dahil matututuho sila o malalaman nila kung ano yung kasagutan, no? Doon sa inyong tanong. Okay? So, ayan siya. Sinagot mo na ba? Nasagot mo na ba? Tapos na ba o hindi pa?
Yeah, no, yung nga, yeah, I mean, I provided yung sagot ko, it's a kind of a guess dahil hindi nga ako sigurado yung kung buo nga yung tanong nga niya. So I'm guessing that it's to do with 10 years. So if that's correct, if that's the case, then yung sagot ko. But yeah, no, I mean, feel free when you can.
Oo. Gagawin natin. Siguro by next week, ganun ho gagawin natin. Kasi minsan, di ba, attorney, pinag-uusapan natin, biglang mamaya may yung message kina-clarify o may sinasabi. So, mas mabuting tinutumbok na natin, direkta na ho din yung sagot. Kayo na ho magtanong, diretsa. Attorney, ganyan-ganyan. Diretso na, di ba? Para hindi piecemeal. Di ba? Hindi piecemeal. Okay. Yung mga questions so ninyo, sayang hindi ho pumapasok doon sa ating yung sa system namin. Pero nakikita ho natin doon sa mismong thread, yung mga comments doon ko binabasa eh. Okay, attorney, ito may question pa rito. Galing kay Betty Respicio Bartolome. Sabi niya, "Hi, good evening Attorney Lira and Sunny. Pwede po ba ako magtanong? Indefinite ako for 10 years. Isinama ako dito sa ibang bansa. Ilang buwan ba na pwede akong magstay outside the UK? I'm worried baka magkaroon ng problema sa pag-apply ko ng British citizenship. Salamat. Thanks." Ayan. Nakuha ba?
Actually, that's yeah, no, ang gandang question yan because it actually it's to the point yung pinag-uusapan nga natin ngayon. So one of the things na kailangan yung pag-ingatan residence requirements, no? Absence from the United Kingdom. So generally, you should not be absent for more than 450 days in the last 5 years.
Ilan yun, attorney? How many days?
So, yeah, 450 days in the last 5 years, or 90 days in the last 12 months. Actually, nandito sa akin yung lista ko because I thought that may be an issue nga ngayon. So,
in the last what? 90 days in the last?
In the last 12 months.
Oh, so 1 year, 12 months.
The first thing to look at is, Ms. Bartolome, ang unang kailangan mong tingnan is, you need so you've been living in the UK for the last 10 years. So okay nga yun, lagpas ka na way over the 5 years naman, no? So you check mo, have you been away for longer than 450 days, or will you be away for longer than 450 days for the last of those 5 years? So kung hindi ka pa magpapasok ngayon, since sabihin natin next year mo asikasuhin, now question mo is, are you going to be away more than 450 days if you count back 5 years, no? So magpapasok na ngayon, you count 5 years from now, no? Now you also must not be away from the United Kingdom for more than 90 days in the 12 months prior to the application. So kung magpapasok ng application ngayon, you have to count 12 months from here, no? And have you been away for longer than 90 days? So 3 months nga, no? So as long as you're not away nga for in excess of those, you should be okay. So normal holidays, hindi nga problema, even if they're a bit longer holidays. Pero kung matatagalan ka, sabihin natin may balak kang umuwi ngayon sa atin, matatagalan ka doon, 1 taon ka sa atin, then that will certainly compromise your intended application to apply for naturalization. Then you are absent for more than 90 days in the last 12 months.
Yun. Parang minultiply ko rin yung, sabi mo, 1 year, 90. Sabi mo, 5 years, at least in the last 5 years, 450 days. And 90 times 5, 450. So, yun pala yun. Parang 90 days per So, kung sakali, 440 days ka lang in the last 5 years, o di kaya 85 days in the last year. Okay yun? Pasok ba yun?
Yeah.
Okay. Pasok yun. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they start with the actual, the actual number, no? I mean, I suppose kung talagang kung lagi kang wala dito, they may question whether or not the United Kingdom is still your home. But generally, kung wala, if there are no issues about residency in that way, intention of to remain in the UK, then generally they look at the numbers. And in fact, titingnan nila yung passport, no? Usually passport, not always, but usually in passport nandun nakatatak pagka not necessarily kung lalabas ka nga dito, at pagka pumasok ka sa ibang bansa may tatak, pagka lumabas ka may tatak din, o pagpasok mo dito may tatak. From there makikita nila, have you been absent, no? In fact, you have to tell them, you have to work it out yung absences mo, no? So Miss Bartolome, kung matatagalan ka, kung lalabas ka nga dito, matatagalan ka, beware, the important numbers are 450 days in the last 5 years and 90 days po in the last 12 months, in the last year. So, calculate it.
Attorney, ang sinasabi mo, nababasa yun sa mga stamp in and out. Eh kung say for example, in the last 5 years, nawala yung passport, nag-apply ng panibago, di wala yung mga record na yun. Not some burden of proof o burden of yung to say, hey, you went beyond 450. Government ba o paano yan? How is it seen or how is it discovered na lumagpas ka ng 450? Kalagit within in the last 5 years 450. Nawala nung second year, nag-reapply ng yung mga stamp ng mga nakaraang past 2 years, makikita pa ba yun?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. The first thing they will start with is you need to make a full and frank disclosure, no? So it's a reason for refusal if you commit deception o kaya dishonesty. So kung nagpasok ng application, hindi mo sinabi lahat, then that can be, if they find out, not just a refusal but potentially a bar against later on, no? So it's never ever a good idea not to tell the truth. Also, I mean, most countries are linked now, no?
Mm-hmm.
So if they check, say some of the say EU countries, kung nagpasok ng application for a visit visa, no? Or and for Schengen visa even, it could be that from that they can deduce yun. I've also had a client nga may nagsumbong sa kanya. No?
Nagsumbong?
Sinumbong siya nung, well, he had a fight with his wife actually at the time, and then ex. So ang ginawa ng asawa, sinumbong siya that actually, he failed to make a full and frank disclosure, and he had issues.
Mm-hmm.
They were truly looking to rescind his citizenship.
Ayan. Okay. May tanong dito, attorney. Si Gianna Tenko, sabi niya, good evening po, Sir Sunny and Ma'am Lira. Tanong ko po, ano po dapat kong gawin? Nag-file nung March British husband ko ng divorce. Hindi ko po pinirmahan dahil hinihintay ko po ILR result ko in domestic violence. Ngayon po, granted na ILR ko, ano po dapat ko gawin? Kuha po ba ako ng solicitor or pirmahan ko na lang po? Hindi niya sinabi sa divorce papers na may domestic violence behavior ang reason niya sa divorce. Behavior siguro, parang unreasonable behavior siguro to, attorney, no? Tama ba yan?
Yeah.
Tama ba? Okay, ako na lang nagdagdag noon, inedit ko na lang. Unreasonable behavior ang reason niya sa divorce. Sorry po, mahaba. Okay lang to, sana hinabaan mo pa. Thank you po,
Yeah.
more power. Okay lang yan. Gianna, wala naman tayong problema sa haba, no? Okay lang yan. Nasa sa'yo yun kung mapapagod ka mag-type. Yes. Ano masasabi mo, attorney?
Salamat po sa tanong nga, Tenko. So ito, ang payo ko, you really should see a solicitor. I think ang ginawa nga niya, dinivorce ka niya because probably he was concerned na kung ikaw maggagawa nga that you may make allegations of domestic violence. It's not a bad idea to just seek, even if it's only brief, even if it's only one-off advice, kung kailangan mong pirmahan nga, kung if you want to agree to the petition, no? Because unang-una hindi mo alam, I mean, is he looking to make a financial claim against you? Should you make a financial claim against him? Or do you feel nga strongly na yung kasalanan niya, hindi mo kasalanan? So kung ikaw binibintangan nga niya, but actually that's not the case, daw ikaw naging biktima, then you may feel strongly that yung divorce should be granted on your petition rather than his petition. But it could also be na sabihin mo, well, look, I just want to move on with my life, which is fair enough. Kung yun, then it may be an idea to simply agree to it, but maybe put in a note to say that actually you feel strongly that it's his behavior that has caused the issues. So you can also note that. But it's worthwhile, especially where there's domestic violence nga involved, seek advice bago mo pirmahan, no? Because it may well have it may well affect any other issues. So by that I mean kung mayroon kayong mga anak, no, or money, no, if you're looking to make a claim, for example, against him, and you want to include behavior as part of gross behavior as part of the divorce proceeding. So kamo nang pipirma, see a solicitor po.
Okay, well, see a solicitor first, no? Ano ba yan? Immigration solicitor. Kasi you can advise now on or magki-criminal muna, solicitor.
Yeah, well, it's actually more immigration and matrimonial, no?
Okay.
Ang priority is probably just to make sure na hindi nga mapapahamak yung indefinite mo. I can't imagine magkakaproblema ka sa indefinite mo. Clearly, yung Home Office, you've made your case na biktima ka, domestic violence, and that's the reason why you got indefinite leave to remain. So I can't see na yung divorce nga, kahit nga divorce niya, would lead to it, for you to have problems. But it's better to just be safe than sorry, no? Then separately nga from that is the matrimonial issue, no? And kaya gusto mo ding siguraduhin nga that kung ano man sinabi niya na dahilan, that it doesn't then follow you either because from a matrimonial point of view or indeed from an immigration point of view. So you should see a solicitor nga if you were subjected to domestic violence. It could even be that, at least for matrimonial matters, that you could be entitled to legal aid assistance, because that's one of the exceptions nga to be entitled to legal aid is where there's been domestic violence. So subukan mo. I think if you don't have the money to pay nga, you see if you can find someone who advises on legal aid.
Okay, pagbati muna rito, pagbati, mga ilang pagbati, no? Ayan, si MM Giling pala to ka. Okay, tapos si MM Giling. Ito, si Ruby. Ruby De Vera. Ruby De Vera. Good evening po, Sir Sunny and Attorney Lira. Yon, mabate. Ito naman yung ating avid viewer, kaibigan ng show, no? Si RG Menodin from good evening po from Malaga, Spain. Ano oras na ba sa Malaga, Spain? 10:07. Ayan.
Wow.
Okay. Ito may question dito si Edgardo, no? Kagahas yan. May question siya. Nababasa niyo ba ito, Attorney? Kuya Sunny and Attorney Lira, someone went here as working permit, Tier 2 General, in year 2011. Then, suddenly, in 2013, Home Office changed her visa to Tier 2 Intercompany due to the company is a global company, same company, name in Philippines and UK. Can she take the 10-year route for ILR? Ayun. Gusto mo basahin ko lang?
No, it's okay, Sonny. So, dumating siya dito 2011, tapos 2013, for whatever reason, nagbago nga yung visa niya.
Same company name daw, UK and Philippines, naging intercompany. Hindi yata intercompany, intracompany pa rin ba tawag? Transferee?
Yeah, intracompany. Yeah.
Intracompany.
So ang intracompany. Now it's a global company. Can she take the 10-year route for indefinite leave to remain? So I would need to know a little bit more nga, was there an interruption, no? So the main thing here is kung merong ang gap, no? Kung walang gap, then it's certainly arguable na it's tuloy-tuloy nga yung visa niya. And that's the thing about the 10-year route. Pwede mong, idugtong nga, different types of visas. So the question to find out is meron bang gap, because it's a bit strange na yung sabi mo nga dito, then suddenly in 2013 the Home Office
Yung home office daw mismo.
Yeah, which is unusual. Hindi usually yung nangyayari without an application by her or indeed with the company nga. So I think there's probably a little bit more to it than that.
Yes, siguro.
So I think there may be a gap there, and a gap would pose a problem.
Oo. Okay, yun ang sinasabi natin siguro by next week, we're gonna open the lines para nang sa ganun mas clarified yung tanong, di ba? Attorney, Kasi hindi na alam ko ano in between dito, kung ito ba'y umalis at bumalik, tapos, di ba, naging bago ang application, naging intra-company, Kasi from work permit, tier 2 general, naging tier 2 inter or intra-company. Okay. All right. So, ayan. May tanong pa rito, attorney, hindi lumabas dito sa ating pinaka message board, Itong ano. Oo. Dito lang sa mismong chat box natin. Si Alvin ML, hindi ko alam kung MI o ML to. Paano po kung EU citizen ka, wala pang tatak kung lumabas ka ng bansa, paano po nila malalaman yun?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's the $1,000,000 question, tama ka, kung EU ka, labas-pasok ka dito, usually, of course, hindi nila tinatatakan because you have free movement, and that will remain to be the case until the end of the year. So, it's a good point, but it's really a question of, are you prepared to not be frank with the Home Office? It's never a good idea not to be frank because, hindi natin alam, 5 years from now, it can come back, So if you can head it off the problem by just adding maybe or not making an application now but making an application later on when you've satisfied the time, I would suggest do that rather than risking it. But no, it's a fair point. How would they know? How would they see? It's a very fair point.
Okay. Marami kang binigay na mga reasons. Ano ba itong mga reasons, attorney? How do you classify them? Ito ba yung things that can go wrong ba? Yung sinasabi mong criminality, financial unsoundness, deception, dishonesty, residence requirements, physical presence, knowledge of life in the UK, English parang language, Test ba yan?
Opo.
Suitability of referees, or referees ba? Referrals. Referees, past immigration issues nga, itong
Opo.
knowledge of life in the UK, di ba, mag-i-exam bago ka magkaroon ng ILR, mag-i-exam ka muna ng life in the UK exam, di ba?
Yeah, tama po.
So,
Yeah,
bago ka
exacto.
bago ka mag-apply ng citizenship mo, yun ang magiging requirement, di ba?
Yeah. So, pagka papasok ka nga ng indefinite leave to remain application, so settlement, then kailangan mo kunin nga yun muna. So, you need to have two tests. Two things. Life in the UK test, yun ang pinakamahirap. At saka yung English language requirement. Yung life in the UK test, hindi yung mapapasok. So, kung kunin mo yun for the indefinite leave to remain, you can use that again for the naturalization application. You don't need to redo it, Now, and the English usually you can also, as long as it satisfies the usual requirement nga. So normally, most of my clients would, if they do it now, actually, dahil hindi nga napapaso yung life in the UK, I've had clients who have done it, years ago. And they ask me, okay pa rin bang gamitin? The answer is yes, okay pa rin gamitin. So at the moment, hindi na lang natin alam kung magbabago na uli yung batas. But at the moment, kung nakapasa ka na, indefinite life in the UK test, magagamit mo yon for the British passport application, for the naturalization application. It doesn't matter how long a gap there was between the indefinite at saka yung naturalization.
May ano ba yan? May ibig sabihin hanggang maski 70 years old ka nag-apply o 100 or 80 or 60, wala ba yung tipong maaawa sila sa'yo na tipong may discretion na rin sila siguro out of ano ba yung kindness of the heart ng home office? Kung kuha ng exam, bagsak ka ng bagsak, parang driving test yan eh. Maraming yung mga yung practical test, maraming talagang forever bagsak ng bagsak. Yan ba forever kang bagsak, hindi ka pa rin pwedeng mapagbigyan? Let's say kung 10 years mo na kinukuha yung exam, bagsak ka ng bagsak. Wala ba, attorney? Talaga bang nakataga ba sa bato na pag wala kang, hindi mo pinasa yung knowledge, yung life in the UK test wala. Medyo hirap ka mag-exam, wala no? Yung ba ang requirement talaga? Because I remember, kaya ako tinanong yan, I remember, merong mga cases yata before na parang kinukuha yata sa school o parang sineseminar or something like that. Pagkatapos na makakuha sa ng certificate, acceptable na yun as in lieu of the life in the UK test. Meron ba nun dati?
Yeah.
Diba? Parang ganun, di ba?
Yeah, no. Tama ka, Sonny. Absolutely. So, yung nga lang nagbago na din yung process, no? So, dati, nung unang-una, walang English language nga, no? And then, I remember, nagbago ng konti. So, sabi nila, okay, kung meron kang solicitor, the solicitor can confirm that your English is okay, no? And I certainly I did that for a few of my clients nga. So, you just check that they can answer in certain things. So yun ang pangalawa. And then tama ka, they introduced actually this yung parang seminar, no? And then you attend that, makakakuha ng certificate, tapos yun na pwede na yun. And then more recently, I say recently, probably 10 years na ngayon, is yung life in the UK test. On top of that, yung English language separately, no? A B1 level of the English language. Pero ang pinakamahirap, yung life in the UK. So, ngayon, the rules say, kailangan mong pakita life in the UK test na pumasa ka. Unless, and there are few exceptions, you are age 65 plus, or you suffer from some disability that prevent you from being able to take it. And so, kung may sakit ka nga, and talagang malala nga yung sakit mo, or if you are somehow mentally disadvantaged nga, no? So, all those things are possible exceptions, no? But without those, kung wala kang exception, kailangan mong gawin. So, kahit 10 taon na ginagawa mo, and unfortunately, I've come across some clients nga yun ang nangyayari. It's just, hindi, especially tayo, it's not that hindi mo alam, no? Papasa ka, yung nga lang ang problema, wala kang time, no? Mga kababayan natin often, hindi lang isang trabaho, 2, 3, 4, no? So, wala kang time mag-review. At saka, iba din ang mga, question formation nga dito. Tayo, and you know this better than me actually, Sonny, but some of the education system nga sa atin, a lot of it is more towards Americanized, no? And there's, I find certainly it's more, iba din ang, the way they form their questions is actually, perhaps, kung dito ka nag-aral, it's not an issue somehow. Pero if you galing ka sa Pinas, sometimes it's just the way the questions are asked, the way they're formed, that can be confusing. So alam mo yung sagot, but the question can be confusing. So mali yung sagot mo because you didn't quite understand the question. But mainly, frankly, tayo lagi tayong nagtatrabaho. I mean, you know how it is, Sonny, no? Umaga, gabi, alas 12 na, trabaho pa rin tayo. No time to review. But
Hindi, gusto ko lang sabihin, ang hirap ng exam ha. Maski yung mga British people, they tested this sa mga British people. Hindi naman alam ng mga ordinary British people eh. Nung nag-aral ako ng Life in the UK test, nalaman ko na kung sino yung mga patron saint o kada saint ng bawat country. Bawat, di ba? Kung sino yung, ang dami kong natutunan na hindi ko alam noon. Nalaman ko yung mga Irish pala, di ba? May mga first wave, second wave na mga dumarating, di ba? Yung, let's say, mga Irish, they work in the railroads. Yung mga itim, yung from Jamaica, gano'n, nag-work sa mga buses, parang conductors. Yung mga Indians, Asians, nag-work sa mga textile companies. Yung mga gano'n ba? Yung mga wave of immigration, no, na hindi mo alam yun, napapag-aralan mo because of that, no? Meron ako isang tanong, attorney, na buti na lang last minute. Alam mo na saan ako nag-aral? Nag-aral lang ako sa booklet. Booklet lang ako eh. Booklet lang. Buti bago ako mag-exam, may nabasa akong sa mata ko na yung bang mga na tiyempo, yung mga bata ba, di ba, parang dito, parang naging ano yun, they would do some, parang newspaper, magdi-deliver silang papers, or they would work in, ano yata, hindi ko alam kung mga news agents. Yung mga bata, when off time sila, off classes, so they do that, parang mga jobs nila. Natanong yun, nakuha ko. So, mabilis naman ang exam, di ba? Sandali lang yan. Tanong ko, nagda-drive ka ba? Nagda-drive ka ba, attorney?
Yeah, pero I tell you what, I'm so happy nung dahil matanda na ako. nung kumuha ko ng lisensya.
Okay.
That was before that was actually before the written test, no?
Okay.
Dahil, to be frank, ewan ko kung papasa ako na ngayon eh. Dahil it's I mean, okay, you kind of know it, but you know it because there are things that you experience na. Pero to know all the rules nga to do with with driving, with probably a fair few, I need to look it up, especially yung mga obscure one. But yeah, so it's yun din, mahirap nga din yun. I feel very sorry for those who are taking the driver's test now. Dahil nga the test is quite difficult. But yung life in the UK, hindi yung basta-basta. Truly, mga tao ngayon na nanonood sa atin, kung akala nyo ay madali nga lang yun, you're not really, meron kayong booklet, hindi nyo naman laging binabasa. No, you have to take it seriously. Mahirap, di ba, no? So,
sabi mo may developments ngayon kasi teka muna, hindi ko kasi alam naman, no, dahil nag-apply ako nung araw pa, no. Sa akin ano lang eh, pag nag-apply ka ng ILR mo, yun, kukuha ka ng Life in the UK test. And the following year, a year after, you can apply now. Well, ano ka na, you're entitled ba, qualified ka nang mag-apply ng naturalization. Ngayon, sinasabi mo, forever, parang yung pag naipasa mo yung Life in the UK seminar, sa UK test, okay lang eh, di ba? Parang hindi napapaso. Kaya ako tinanong ko, nagda-drive ka kasi, dahil nung kumuha ako ng unang dalawang component ang components yata, o plural ba? Components ang sa driving dito. First is yung theory, and then the second is practical, yung driving. Sa theory, pag naipasa mo yan, kailangan within 2 years, ipinasa mo yung o nag-test ka o kumuha ka ng practical. Pagka hindi mo pinasa o hindi ka kumuha ng practical, mapapaso. You will have to retake it. Hindi ka mukha ng Life in the UK test yata, no? Pero, ito bang Life in the UK test, pati English ba? Kunyari ako, mag-a-apply ako ng ILR. Mag-i-English test pa rin ba ako?
Yeah, iba po yun. Yeah.
Ganun ba?
Iba yun. The B1 English language is quite separate from the Life in the UK. No?
So both of them, kailangan makuha mo yon bago ka mag-ILR, ganun ba?
Absolutely.
So okay.
Lang yung Life in the UK, but yung B1 English language. Now, that has a few more, if you like, exceptions nga.
May exceptions naman. Okay.
So,
kanina, 65 years old, o baka may sakit ka or anything that, okay. Ngayon, ano exception yan sa English?
So sa English, so for example, kung if the most obvious one is if you come from an English-speaking country already, so obviously hindi mo kailangan, no? So that would be one thing. even if you don't come from an English speaking country, pero nag-aral ka and your course was taught in English, no? Then that could also satisfy the English language, the B1, no? And you can also, but you can also show nga that your university degree, no? Sabihin natin the whole thing was you took it elsewhere, maybe in the US, that would also satisfy it. And of course, the usual nga, the 65, and if you are mentally unable to satisfy. But it's B1, so mas mahirap, no? So, kung papasok ka galing ka sa Pinas, tapos, say as a spouse, no? Gusto mong pumasok dito, ang level A1. And that's, if you like, the lowest level that you have. Pero yung B1, it's not, that's not nowhere near as easy as the A1 nga. So, do study for the B1. But frankly, most of my clients, hindi yun ang problema. Dahil kung matagal ka na nga dito, especially you got indefinite leave to remain, so you're looking at least say 5 years or at least 3 years nga sa United Kingdom, usually, B1 is not a problem. Most people, ang problema nila, yung life in the UK test.
Pero yung mga pumapasok na ng mga nurses, the reason why hirap na hirap pumasok dumating, there's a huge demand for nurses dito. Pero ang stumbling block, ang obstacle, yung pagpasa ng mga English exams ng mga nurses sa Pilipinas eh. Yun ang pinaka problema nila, attorney eh. Nagtapos ng nursing, nakakapag-English naman, pero nagbabagsakan. As in talaga nagbabagsakan dyan sa English exams. Ano yung level yon? Kasi sabi mo, A, pinakamadali. B, yung medyo, sabi mo, kailangan mag-aral pa. Ibig sabihin, wina-warningan mo pa na, hindi, don't take it lightly, ha? Mag-aral kayo ng konti. Ibig sabihin, sa B1. May C1 ba? May D1 pa ba? May ano bang mga 1-1 dyan?
Yeah. Iba po yun. Yun, IELTS, no? And yeah, tama ka. Marami tayong mga kababayan na nurses na, they're very qualified. Yung nga lang, mahirap pumasa ng I think at the moment, the level, the average nga na kailangan nila is 7, no? So, and that IELTS level actually is more difficult than the B1, in fact. So, frankly, if you can pass the IELTS, then it usually is not going to be a problem for you to pass the B1.
So now we have established that things have changed a lot through the years. For example, like you were saying, for the ILR, you need a life in the UK, passing the life in the UK test, and English. Kaya katatanong about the driving, nung araw kasi, yung theory lang. Ano ba yung pangalan nung yung UK? Yung theory. Ngayon, pag inabot ka ng panahon naman na nagdagdag na, bukod do sa theory, nagdagdagan ng hazard perception test. So whereas before it was just one examination, yung theory, a few years later nagkaroon na ng dalawa. So aside from passing or taking the theory test, afterwards kukuha ka uli ng another test, ang tawag hazard perception test, yung anticipating kung darating na yung hazard. So yun, pahirap na pera, parami yung mga So pareho din pala ngayon yan sa immigration na merong life in the UK test, may English pa, di ba? So
I didn't know that. So driving test na hindi tatlo na. So it's
dalawa. I mean, theory test and then hazard perception test. So pagkatapos mo kumuha ng
at saka yung practical, you do the actual driving.
Before you can take the practical, at saka requirement doon, you have to, I don't know kung nagbago na naman within 2 years after passing the theory, you have to have at least passed the practical or taken the practical. Kung hindi, you will have to retake the theory examination, and then na-implement pa yung bago na mag-hazard perception test ka pa. So, yun. Tapos marami bumabagsak din dahil ang ginagawa nila sa hazard perception test, kasi merong papakita sa yung clip na video clip na i-click mo at the time na you are anticipating a hazard. So ang ginawa ng iba, para pumasa lang, dinadaya, click all the way from the beginning of the clip hanggang sa matapos para to play safe. Hindi, bumabagsak nagkakamali You have to anticipate, no? Okay, tuloy lang natin ito, mabilis ng mga tanong pa, mga attorney, ha? Okay, ito yung sinasabi ko, kailangan natin ng clarification, kaya we will be opening the lines next week para sa ganun, direkta kayo makakatawag. Ito, nag-addendum si Jeanette Tenco, Gianna Tenco pala, Jeanette tuloy. Sabi niya, wala po kaming anak, ayoko pong maghabol kung anong meron siya. Ito yata yung kanina, attorney, naalala mo kay Gianna Tenco?
Yeah.
Wala po kaming anak, ayoko pong maghabol kung anong meron siya. Peace of mind ang gusto ko. Hindi niya alam na binigyan ako ng chance ng home office na mag-apply ng ILR. Dinideport niya po ako last year pa at cancel spouse visa at sponsorship. Pero home office po sumulat sa akin na apply ako ng ILR. Magtanong na lang po ako sa Citizens Advice Bureau ng murang solicitor. Thank you po so much po sa advice. God bless you both. Ayan. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so ayan. Okay.
Ms.
Ruth,
Tenco,
yes.
Kung gusto mong kung gusto mo kong tanungin, mag-email ka sa akin, no? Yeah, of course, you can go to the CAB. Pero yung nga, if it's a quick question nga lang, o nag-aalala ka given that you were subjecting nga to domestic violence, then just email me, no? I'm happy to just have a look nga. But yeah, look, ito. Kung sometimes mga tayo you just want nga a quiet life, no? Sawa ka na, lagi ka nagkakaproblema, at least nakakuha ka nga ng indefinite na dito, settlement status ka na in the UK. So you just want to move on with life. And I can fully understand that. In which case, yeah, okay, it may be something nga na pirmahan mo. But again, beware. Because, ang ayaw mo nga mangyari, kung anumang pirmahan mo ngayon, that it then somehow counts against you, no? And by all means, see nga the CAB, but something like a divorce, it should not be too difficult to get advice on. So, but it's a good idea talaga, Ms. Tenco. You do seek advice, either CAB, solicitors, or as I've said, you're very welcome na to email me. I'm happy to assist.
Pero I don't think na ang CAB would give you the cheapest, no, na murang solicitor. Hindi ganun. They would probably have a list of solicitors. Just like if mga CAB, kunyari for criminal, may criminal na case or parang you think may nangyaring gusto mong magkonsulta. And if you go to the CAB, ang ibibigay sa'yo listahan lang ng abogado. It doesn't say kung mura o mahal or ano. Listahan lang nila 'yon na parang na-collate lang nila from na siguro kung area na yon, kung let's say nandun ka sa a certain borough, so andun sa locality na yon yung mga lawyers na yon, no? Lawyers na yon, bale. Yun ang palagi ko. I don't think na merong mura o mahal, no, ang gagawin sa inyo ng ng CAB.
No, tama.
May alam ako diyan kasi mga criminal, they will give you a list of criminal law firms. No, not parang listahan lang nila yun, parang Yes, sorry, ba yung sinasabi ka, attorney?
Yeah, yung nga po. No, tama ka, Sonny, na bibigyan ka nga ng listahan, no? Pero ito, Ms. Tenco, if you were subjected to domestic violence, no, what you can also do is, tignan mo, I mean, if you go to CAB, that's fine, of course, but you may be entitled actually to advice under the legal aid scheme, no? So, ibig sabihin yung gobyerno magbabayad, limited amount. And that's because you were subjected to domestic violence, no? So yun, so there are ways, but really, sa'yo, it is a good idea, given niya yung background nga, na just seek advice, no? And if you were subjected to domestic violence, see if you can get advice from a firm nga na would advise on legal aid.
Pero ang tanong ko, sabi niya, inofferan daw siya ng parang sinabihan siya ng parang binigyan daw siya ng parang ILR, sinabihan niya ata siguro, apply ka na ILR. Hindi alam daw ng husband. So, ayun, nabigyan siya ng ILR. Teka muna, nabigyan na ba ng ILR? Pero paano tong sinasabing home office na, di ba? Parang may assistance, parang hindi na siya nangailangan ng CAB at saka hindi na siya nangailangan ng solicitors. Parang nakapag-apply siya. Ano ba yan? Ganun ba? Tatawagan ka ba ng home office or sasabihan ka, pwede ka mag-apply, may domestic abuse o violence, victim ka, you're entitled, ganun. It doesn't cancel yung whatever yung husband na sinasabing, cancel yung kanyang sponsorship and di ba? Parang ganun. Oo.
Yeah, no, no, that's not how the home office works usually, no? So I think siguro nangyari, I at least I suspect is either nagpasok siya o meron siyang solicitor or an advisor nga, and yung nga pinasok nga niya domestic violence, under the indefinite leave to remain under the domestic violence route, no? Tapos sabi ng home office, that's fine, you've satisfied, you've given us enough evidence, and will grant you therefore indefinite leave to remain. Yung nga, hindi nila sasabihin yun sa asawa. And that's right enough, no?
Mhm.
No, so yung asawa nga hindi niya alam na ito nga nangyari.
Oo.
So it's unlikely yung home office nang nagpass ng application tapos sabi nila, actually we won't grant it here pero bibigyan ka namin ng visa under this, no? That doesn't happen not anymore, no? I mean, 15 years ago they were, if you like, a bit more a bit kinder, for want of a better phrase, no? So in the past, you could even call the home office. Ngayon, iba na din ang process.
Hinihingi niya yung email address mo, ito, no? So, okay lang,
Yep.
i-email mo si attorney. Ayan. Ito kasi, tinanong niya, sabi niya, can I have your email address, attorney? Ayun. Okay. Tuloy lang natin itong, okay, si Edgardo, ito sinasabi ko, sige, next week ganito gawin ho natin. Agaan nyo manood ng mga alas 8 pa lang. Kailangan nakatutok kayo, no, dito sa ating programa. Para na sa ganun, very interesting kasi to, attorney. I'm sure passionate ka rito. Passionate din ako dahil this is human drama eh. Yung pinag-uusapan natin, kamukha nung case ni Gianna, di ba? Human drama yan eh. Itong immigration, hindi to subject matter na physics, mathematics o no. Ito ay buhay ng tao pinag-uusapan, no? Parang katulad ng pag-ibig, no? Masalimuot din to, no?
Yeah, no.
Diba?
No, absolutely. Tsaka, I actually, yung nga, lagi kong sinasabi, in doing this, discussing it with people, I'm also learning nga din, ano? And sometimes, alam mo, but it doesn't actually, it's not a problem you come across all the time. So it's good to review it, and then you see, oh yeah, nakalimutan ko na yon. Ito nga actually, and on that note, pinag-usapan natin very briefly before yung physical presence in the UK, and this was something that actually today, yeah, I mean you know it, and it's something you ask, but it's never really very unusual to have that problem. So physical presence in the UK, and this is something people always forget, no? Kung magpapasok kayong application, you have to also bear in mind, were you in the country 5 years ago or 3 years ago, no? So ibig sabihin, kung gagamitin mo yung 5-year route, no, and you're making an application today, you have to think back, were you away from the United Kingdom 5 years ago? Were you on holiday, for example? If you were therefore not physically present in the UK 5 years back, ending with the date of the application. So on that basis, makikita nila dun sa passport mo, wala ka nga dito. They can refuse your application. It's one of those, I do think, silly rule really, but it's there. So you need to be physically present in the UK 5 years back when you're making an application, or 3 years back when you're making an application. But yung ganon, it's easy to forget, and why would you look at where you were 5 years ago, no? But those things usually are not can be resolved very quickly. So you just need to, if you are on holiday, just wait another week and make an application a week later. No?
Okay. Ano nga pala, pagka nagda-drive, variable speed pa, something like that eh. So, let's say, ang average speed is 70 or 60, halimbawa. Ina-average yun eh. So, siguro in some parts, napabilis ka, naging 70. In some parts, siguro 50. Ina-average, basta huwag ka masyadong laging nag-stay ng sobra continuously dun sa speed limit sa driving. Ang tanong ko lang, attorney, ganito, 5 years ago, ano ba to? Parang ina-average din ba yan? Halimbawa, 5 years ago, kasi ang sabi mo, in the last 12 months, kailangan 90 days, hindi lalagpas ng 90 days, tama ba?
Opo.
Okay. Say, 5 years ago, lumabas siya nung 5 year, on that 5th year, 5 years ago, naka 120 days siya. Tapos on the fourth year, siguro matalino, babawi siya. 60 days ako rito dahil sumobra ako 1 month doon. Tapos the following year, 90 days. The following year siguro 90 days uli. Ina-add ba yan? Sinusukat ba yan? Yung 5 years ago, kunyari, maski 6 months ka ron. Kung within the last 5 months, 5 years naman, na ipasok mo yung 450 less than 450. Ganun ba ang sistema?
Tama ka. So, it's the total, the global amount in the last 5 years, no? So, kung wala ka, so it's not question of an average, no? It's the total amount. So, kung ngayon ka magpapasok, ano tayo ngayon, 2020 na tayo, no? 17 September 2020. So, in 2015, count from that day. So, lagpas ba ng 450 days ang absence mo from the United Kingdom in the last 5 years. But beware, the last 12 months, you must not be away for longer than 90 days.
Ayun. Yun ang no? Yun ang parang clincher yung dulo, no? Oo nga, no? Di ba? Oo. So, maaring ang maaring sumobra o nag-average ko ng first 4 years pero yung last year mo kailangan hindi over 90 days at yung total mo ng last year mo kailangan hindi lumagpas doon sa past 4 years mo na maging 450, di ba? Ganun, no?
Tama.
Okay. So,
actually, it's an interesting issue dahil nga maraming matao with the lockdown, you see, no? They were stuck, no? I said I've had a few clients hindi sila makabalik nga dito. Simply because there were no flights. The flights were being canceled. And one of my clients, she was there for she was there from March. Tapos nakabalik nga lang siya in June. So but okay, there were other things that were problematic there. But yeah, so a lot of people have been absent. The Home Office in relation to time, unless you have been away for longer than 900 days in the last 5 years, then they have discretion. So, especially yung 3 months nga ngayon. So, yung kliyente ko ngayon, if she wants to apply now if she could apply now for naturalization, ang sasabihin ko sa kanya, okay, kahit nga wala ka dito, the 90 days, I would say, subukan pa rin natin, no? And we just need to explain na ang nangyari nga is the lockdown, no? Your flight was canceled. In her case, I think it was canceled like 5 times, no? And because of that, you were not able to come back to the UK. I mean, the Home Office do exercise their discretion where they think it's appropriate. So in this case, especially mga nangyayari nga ngayon, I think in her case, they should exercise, and they probably will exercise nga their discretion and bigyan pa rin nga siyang visa even though she was out of the UK longer than 90 days in the last 12 months.
Okay. All right. So, ayan. Meron tayong mga pagbati dito. Si Rudy Libroho, attorney, no? Sabi niya, ano ba sabi niya? Good evening, Sir Sunny, Attorney Lira, and to all kababayans. A very helpful public service show. Oy, thank you. Mabuhay po, watching from Belfast. Ito, may follow-up question si pangalan ito? Si Edgardo. Kagahasyan Enrique. Sabi niya, Attorney Lira and Kuya Sunny, thanks for the reply. There is no gap. She's still working with the same global company here in the UK for 9 years since 2011. And as a full-time employee, she was hired as full-time employee by this global company in 2011 here in the UK, which she resigned in Pinas in 2011. She was surprised why suddenly Home Office changed her visa. Ayun. Parang ano ba yan? Yun lang, paglilinaw lang niya.
Okay, so 9 years na siya since 2011. Hired as full-time employee, okay, in 2011 in the UK, resigned, and then she resigned in the Philippines.
Bakit siya nag-resign? Paano magiging intra-company yun? Kung hindi na siya connected doon sa Philippine company?
Yeah, that's a little bit, ang gawin natin ito, Mr. Enriquez, I mean, I'm curious now, bakit nga nangyari ire? So, if you want, feel free to email me with maybe the papers. Tignan nga natin, no?
Scan niya, no?
And
Bigyan ka
then,
ng PDF
yeah,
file, no?
yeah,
Oo, oo.
yeah, because I'm curious now, ano bang nangyari, no? Kung naririnig niyo yan, yung the noise there.
Wala
Hindi
kami
ako yan,
narinig.
yung aso ko.
Ay, kasama yun. Alam mo ba yung mga shows ngayon, yung malalaking mga stars, because of the lockdown during the initial days and they were doing their shows, yung mga anak nila nagtatakbuhan sa likod nila. Oo, hindi, totoo yan. Oo, so yeah, it's a different ano na ngayon. Ano pangalan ng aso mo?
Watson.
Watson ba? Maganda ng Watson. Pagka napunta pala na Pilipinas yan, matutuwa yan dahil napakaraming Watsons na drugstore sa Pilipinas.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah,
Si Watson.
Nung umuwi ako, they were all over the place.
Puro Watsons.
I just have a picture.
Oo nga. Kaya naalala ko si Watsons. Okay, well, okay yung ano, aso, yung si Doggy, no? Teka muna, going back tayo, so they can send you the PDF or scan it or send it whatever para curious ka rin bakit ganon, di ba? Very complicated dahil nag-resign and then she was treated as an intra-company transferee or intra-company something, no? Oo.
Yeah, it's very curious turn of events nga. So, look, as I say, I'm interested to see. And yeah, no, there's kung ano man padala niyo sa akin, it will be of course treated with confidence.
Yes.
And also I'm not looking to itong ginagawa natin ito, it truly is a public service kami ni Son. So when it's there's no charge nga, no? So you can just email me nga because now especially Mr. Enriquez, and Mr. Enriquez, I'm curious now. So please send it to me. Dahil gusto kong makita.
Pero pag ano, ibig sabihin, if they eventually, you advise them, pero if they would require the services of a lawyer, of an attorney, of an immigration specialist, then syempre, at least andyan ka, no? Okay, meron pagbati pa rito si pangalan nito, ito, meron pagbati lang dito. Andyan ba? May pagbati tayo. Okay. Ayan, good evening, Sir Sunny, Attorney Lira. Si May Tigbao Vargas. Ayan, mabuhay. One of our regulars yan. Ako, paborito natin mga kaibigan yung mga yan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ito, he's one of our very good followers of our station and our program, no? Si Ranjit Somel, no? Good evening, Sunny, Lira, and everyone. How is everyone today? Ayan. Ranjit, mabuhay, ha? Check out the word mabuhay. It's like long live. Okay, may tanong tayo rito, attorney, silipin ko lang to, bilisan ko lang to ating mga questions ba? Napakarami nating mga nagtatanong. Sabi ni attorney, sabi ni si Emmeline Rafael, nagtanong siya ngayon. Tanong ko lang, Attorney Lira, how about kung 70 years old ka na, may exception ba di na mag-exam to apply ng British citizenship in behalf ng kaibigan ko? Pinapatanong niya kasi gusto niya mag-apply ng citizenship, mag-exam pa rin ba siya? Parang 65 yata. Di ba sabi mo?
Yeah, 65 po. Tama ka. So 65 ang deadline. After 65, hindi mo kailangan yung Life in the UK test. So hindi mo kailangan test. So ang payo ko sa kanya,
pati English.
Yeah.
Oh, both English. Okay. Ano ang payo mo? Sorry, ang payo mo?
So payo ko gawin niya na ngayon dahil kung baguhin nilang batas, no?
Nga.
In a wood price, no? Kung baguhin nga nilang batas, that would be one of the things. I think this is a guess, and certainly my prediction nga is kung papalitan nila ito, kung higpitan nga nila yung application for naturalization, I think ang mangyayari siguro, they'll probably introduce either a harder test, no? O kaya bibigyan nila ng expiry date yung Life in the UK, or add a third one. So a bit like yung driving test na sinasabi mo, kind of a hazard in anticipation. So I would not be surprised kung dadagdagan nila yung mga kailangan pakita before you can apply for naturalization. At the moment, it has not changed yet, but I would not be surprised if that does change.
Alam niyo, pabago-bago yan. Totoo yan. Di ba, through the course of this program, I've been learning, I've been taking notes habang nagpo-program tayo na siguro may ma-assimilate din ako maski paano. No? Hindi man ako specialista sa immigration, pero at least pag may nagtanong sa akin, meron ako masasabing konti. Pero teka, pagka medyo komplikado yan, punta ka kay attorney. No? Kasi yung mga nakukuha nating, kamukha yan, exempted sa exam yung mga 65 pati sa both. Alam ko na yan, 'di ba? Like you were saying, nagbabago, baka magbago. Like when I started, when I had my ILR, mura lang ang binabayaran ko, hindi ganun ka higpit ang mga exams. Ngayon, sabi mo may English exam na. Ngayon, dati wala. Kamukha nung driving noon. Ang driving theory lang. Ngayon, meron pang hazard perception test. Hindi ko alam kung nabago na naman 'yon. Like you were telling me, attorney, yung mga ideas ko about who could be the dependents that you could get below 18, 60 over 65 yata. Ngayon hindi na pala, sabi mo yung mga ganong iba na, nagbago na in 2012. Marami nagbabago eh. So gawin mo na yon, total may bayad ba? May bayad. Wala na babayaran. Wala na babayaran. Wala na. Wala na exam, wala nang English.
No. May bayad. May
bayad pa rin maski wala kang life in the UK test?
No. May bayad sa home office. No?
Hindi, teka muna. May bayad saan? Sa application ng British passport.
Yes,
pero yung requirement ng home office na ILR, na life in the UK test at saka English, wala na yun. Hindi mo na kailangan. So, tipid na siya ron. Diba?
Tama ka. Tama. Pero yung nga din, tama ka din na kung magagawa mo na ngayon, gawin nyo na. Dahil hindi nga lang nagbabago ang mga proseso at saka yung batas naman, at saka mga ebidensya kailangan ipakita. Nagbabago din ang fee, no? Ang home office fee, nung unang-una to, I remember time no lang ang fee, no? Ngayon, the fee is £1,330.
Hindi ko matandaan kung magkano binayaran ko in 2004.
2004, it was probably 2004, that's what, 2020 na tayo. It was probably 175 or 155.
Siguro, baka ganun lang. Kada isa yon, kada isang tao yon. Kada isang tao. Isang tao. Palagay ko nga, ganun nga lang ang binayaran namin. No? So tingnan mo, dati, mahigit ng 100, ngayon, mahigit ng 1,000. At saka dati, ang ILR, 4 years on the 5th year, citizenship na application mo. Ngayon, 5 years on the 6th year, citizenship, di ba?
Yeah.
Tama?
So, and also before, spouse visa, natatandaan ko, the age does have some advantage, Sonny. Marami ko natatandaan ko a while ago.
Hindi, pwede naman hindi sa edad yun, kundi history, na-research lang, di ba? Recorded yun,
Yeah. So kunyariin natin na yung nga lang history, hindi yung edad ko. But I do remember actually, a time nga nung spouse visas, walang probation time. Kung kasal ka, you got indefinite, and then inintroduce nila yung 1 taon. So you had a probation period, you had a spouse visa. Pagkalagpasan ng 1 taon, then you can apply for indefinite, for settlement nga. Tapos tinasa nila yun. I think it became then 2 years, So ngayon, 5 taon na.
Pero attorney, di ba may 5-3 rule nung araw sa mga spouse? Pagka asawa mo, British citizen, 3 years lang, pwede ka na mag-apply na citizenship yata o permanent residency? Di ba? Parang ganun yata nung araw.
So, ngayon, yung pa rin nga ngayon. So, kung...
ngayon, gano'n pa rin?
Opo. So, kung kasal ka sa British citizen, then, ang kailangan mong pakita is 3 years nga. No? Kung, this is not the naturalization. No? Kung hindi ka kasal sa British, o kasal ka dati, but now you're divorced, then it is 5 years. In the last 12 months must be so 5 years essentially kailangan mong pakita. Pero kailangan mong mag-intay ng 12 months between indefinite and the time that you can apply for naturalization.
Are you talking of the previous one, the previous setup? Yan ba yung sinasabi mo, yung previous setup? Nung
No,
araw
ngayon,
ngayon?
yeah. So ngayon, kung magpapasok ng application for naturalization, hindi mo kailangang mag-intay ng 1 taon, subject to, of course, anything to do with, character nga. Hindi mo kailangang mag-intay ng 1 taon kung if you're married to a British citizen and you've been married for 3 years, no? Minimum. Pero kung if you're not married to a British citizen, then you need to wait 12 months after getting indefinite, no? Before you can apply for naturalization.
Teka muna. Pagka married ka, 3 years after, pwede ka na mag-apply naturalization? Ka na ba? Pag hindi, you have to wait a year out para dun na sa naturalization, no?
Yeah. So,
Okay,
pagka kung if you married to British, then hindi mo kailangan mag-intay ng 1 taon in between, basically. No?
Yes. Okay. Automatic na yun. Diretso na. Okay.
Opo.
Kasi ngayon, di ba, pagkakuha mo ng ILR standard ngayon, then you can, after a year, pwede ka na mag-apply, di ba? Qualified ka na. Okay. May mga tanong dito pa, bibilisan lang natin. Right. Okay. Ayan. So, nasagot na natin yung kay sabi ni, okay, si Lizzie, teka, ito ba, nabasa na ba natin ito kay Lizzie Hubs? Parang,
Hindi ata.
parang may, hindi pa ba? Pero parang, yun yata, ito ba yung pinag-uusapan natin? Ito, si Lizzie Hubs, sabi ni Lizzie Hubs, ayan, ano sabi niya?
What's up? So, shall I read it, Sonny?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Sabi niya dito, good evening, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lira. If you've been in the UK 10 years on ILR, so indefinite leave to remain, can you get citizenship free? Sadly not.
Baka fee ang pinag-uusapan. Fee, may bayad.
Yeah.
1,330?
Yeah, 1,330. So, sadly not po.
Hindi.
It's, kailangan mo pa rin magbayad.
Pasensya na, talaga may bayad talaga. Pero kung 65 over 65 ba simula na o over 65?
65.
65 pataas. 65 pataas, libre ka na sa yung English at saka yung Life in the UK test. So hindi ka na kailangan magpaka-review, hindi mo na kailangan iuntog yung ulo mo para kabisaduhin yung mga dapat kabisaduhin sa exam, no? Ayan.
Yeah, pero kailangan mo pa rin magbayad ng 1,330.
Yun na lang. Magkano idea mo sa test ngayon ng Life in the UK test, attorney, at saka yung English test?
Hindi ako sigurado, frankly, but last time someone was telling me about it nga, I think it was something like £150 yung Life in the UK.
Okay.
Yung English mas mahal ata, and I think that was nearly 300. From memory.
Wow, dami ko palang na-save, no? Dahil ako, Life in the UK test siguro. Hindi ko alam kung magkano yun. Baka less than £50 or 60. Hindi ko matandaan eh. Ngayon, 100 na pala plus, no? Okay. Ayan, nagpapasalamat. Nababasa mo ba yan, attorney? Pakibasa nga lang.
Opo. Yeah, si Mr. Enriquez ulit, si Gardo Enriquez. So sabi niya dito, thanks Attorney Lira and Kuya Sonny. I'll give her your email. Very helpful and informative program. No, salamat po. It's our pleasure.
Yes.
And talaga, I'm really curious. So make sure she sends it to me.
Sige, ito. Hindi kasi lahat yan mga ganyan-ganyan mga situation. It's very enriching by way of you're learning, 'di ba? Yung mga bagay-bagay na yan. And interesting yan. Okay, ayan si Emmeline Rafael. Ito maganda ang buhok niyan, attorney. Matutuwa
lovely picture. So hello, Ms. Rafael. Ang gandang picture mo.
Thank you, Sunny, Attorney Lira, for the info. Ayan. Baka may mga kaibigan ka, 70, at least 65. Sabi niya 70 kanina. 65 ang pwedeng exempted, no? Ito, DJ Red D. Ano sabi niya, Attorney?
Sabi niya po dito, so, good evening, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lira. Very helpful public service. God bless. God bless you too. No, it's our pleasure. And then talaga, it's really enjoyable to hear yung mga input nyo, mga questions nyo. Absolutely. I learn something new absolutely every Thursday. It's probably the most challenging but also the most interesting day of the week sa akin.
Oh, happy Thursday. At saka ako, alalay lang ako rito, taga-switch lang ako kung tutusin. Trabaho ko lang, i-switch yung camera kay attorney ganyan, o ilagay
Hindi
yung mga tanong
naman.
ninyo, di ba? Wala naman ako.
No.
Pero natututo ako, di ba? Teka muna, bago tayo magtapos, ano to mga suitability of ano ba pronunciation? Referees, no?
Yung,
O referees.
yeah,
Yun.
yeah.
Ano ba yan?
That's yeah. So it's actually quite you would think you wouldn't have problems with the suitability of referees, no?
Oo.
But it's so common to see problems with it, and there are problems that you can avoid, you know. So, unang-una, you should not have someone related to you. So, kailangan mong dalawa, no? Two referees who are independent. So, yeah, they can be your friends, but they cannot be your family, your relatives. They cannot be your solicitor. I get asked often, ikaw nga din siguro, Sonny, if I can be a referee for for clients. I can't be a referee for clients. And even though tapos na nga yung kaso nyo, I still can't be because I'm still regarded as solicitor. So you need two referees though. The one should be British and of good standing, professional standing. The other one actually does not even need to be British, but should be of professional standing. No, and they normally yung home office tatawagan nila not usually both but one. They have a list on their website now of what they consider to be of professional standing, and it's wider now than before. In the olden days, I mean, this is really a long time ago now. So it was limited to people who are doctors, lawyers, teachers, bankers also. But ngayon, it's far wider than that. But just be careful nga. Have a look at the Home Office website. It's a fairly that section is fairly easy to also. It's fairly short. Makikita nyo doon who would be suitable referees. But really, the thing to bear in mind is kung kamag-anak nyo, hindi sila pwede.
Okay. Meron akong dalawa na yata o tatlong nag-request sa akin magganyan, no? Yan, oo. Sa akin naman, ang kinuha ko yung isang consultant, no? Sa Brompton, isang doktor, consultant. At saka isang kaibigan, no? So, ganun lang yan, no? Oo.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, most of the doctors na nga ngayon, they don't want to do it. Dati, I mean, it's years back now, surgeries, it's not normally a problem. Ngayon, hindi na nila ginagawa. So, it can be a bit
surgery?
tricky.
Yung mga clinic na pinupunta natin, ganun? Nagbibigay sila ng araw, pumipirma yung mga doktor, mga GP?
Yeah, dati. But ngayon, hindi na nila ginagawa. Hindi na nila ginagawa.
Kita mo, marami nagbago. Oo.
Yeah. So it's not but you of all the things na to watch out for, the suitability of referees should be the least problematic, no? Yung mga nagkamali doon, hindi nga lang nila tinitingnan maigi. So you can have other problems like financial unsoundness dahil nga hindi ka you've not it was not your fault pero nangyari nga yun. Even absences can be a problem. Pero the referees should not really be a problem.
Okay, yes. Kuha ka lang. Pagka medyo palpak yung tao, no? Hindi naman siguro makaka-apekto sa mo masyado yon sa application mo, no? Nang pag pinasok nyo yung inyong naturalization. Well, I guess, attorney, may isang may pahabol yata si Lizzie Hubs. Pagbati lang naman. Siguro, pasasalamat siguro to. Asa na ba to? Ito, sinasabi lang niya na, ano ba yan? Ayan, thank you, no? And have a lovely weekend. God bless. Maaga ang weekend yan, nagsisimula ng Thursday. Normally, nagsisimula ng Friday yan. Kasi sinabi mo kasi Happy Thursday. So, in-assume ni Lizzie na start ng weekend niya from Thursday all the way till Sunday, no? Okay, okay si Lizzie. Mabuhay, Well, thank you very much. Guys, dami nanonood sa atin. They're regular and they pass on the word to their friends na, may show doon, no? Na immigration at informative, no? Ayan.
Yeah.
So, well.
No. Please join us, no? Talaga it's very very interesting nga to to hear people problema. And if kung makakatulong nga kami, of course, happy to do that. Feel free to email. And kung gusto yung tawagan ko kayo, then leave your number nga. Pero kami ni Sony, we're always up to the challenge, aren't we, Sony? No?
Yes,
So,
yes. In fact, yeah.
Join us, please.
In fact, para sa akin, no, parang entertainment na rin to. You know why? Because hindi kasi they have to tune in maski wala silang problema. Educational kasi, parang wow, okay pala, may ganun pala mga problema ng tao, 'di ba? Na you get to wonder, may mga kasi human drama din to. Kamukha nun,
Yeah.
yung tungkol sa mga sabi no kay Edgardo na kaibigan niya bigla from working permit naging intra-company daw yata, or intra-company something. Hindi ko alam kung transfer yan, ano no. So yung kay Gianna Tenko, 'di ba? O meron siyang problema sa no, sa husband niya, 'di ba? Ganun. So all of these things nalalaman natin ngayon, kamukha ng iba na alam naman hindi na kailangan pala sila magbayad ng Life in the UK test, no? O gumastos pa dahil yun ang mga requirements pati English language. Pag 65 ka na, exempted ka na, bayad ka na lang ng 1,330. Yun ang problemahin mo at maghanap ka na ng mauutangan mo para di ba mga 1,330. Ang laki, di ba? Nung panahon ko yata, tama ka, mga 100 lang yata nung panahon ko So plus
actually something maybe we should I should also add nga, no? Dahil mangyayari na soon. From the 1st of October po, tataas ng mga home office fees, no?
Oh, wow.
Chief amongst which is yung IHS surcharge, yung IHS.
Surcharge, di ba? Yun ang inaano sa mga
surcharge ngayon. 400 pounds, they calculated 400 pounds per year. So, kung 2.5 years ang kunin mo, sabihin natin spouse visa ka, ang babayad mo at the moment until the 1st of October is 1,000 pounds on total. Pero from the 1st of October, tataas na yun. So, it's going up from 400 pounds to 624 pounds per year. So, ibig sabihin, may dagdag na mahigit na 500 on top. So, kung yung mga taong, yung viewers natin po, so kung pwede kang magpasok ng application for extension, kung alam nyo magbabayad na nga kayo ng IHS, kailangan nyo magbayad ng IHS, especially kung may pamilya kayo, kung pwede nyo nang ipasok bago 1st of October, gawin nyo. Dahil from that day, tataas. So, kung 4 kayo, no, sabihin natin, kung dadagdagan nilang 500 pounds for family of 4, ibig sabihin, of course, 500, 2,000 pounds ang dagdag. Yeah?
Wow.
So, kung pwede na kayo magpasok ng application, ngayon, it's the 17th of September, there's still time to put everything together. Pasok nyo before the 1st of October. Otherwise, after that, yun nga, it goes from 1,000 to mahigit ng konting 1,500. And for family of 4, that's huge, no? 2,000 plus.
Wow. Wala ako niyan hindi ko inabot yung mga ganyan-ganyan, no? Yung mga IHS, basta entitled ka sa anything, di ba? Na tawag dito. Anything, NHS services. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng IHS?
Yeah, yun they levied that, yung pisa nila, because that's supposed to be, the applicants, the migrants' contribution to the NHS. Now, in fairness, if you make that contribution and it entitles you then to some help from the NHS, it's actually a very, very, very reasonable price to pay, no?
Pwede kang operahan dyan. Pwede kang operahan, pwede kang lahat. Kung ginawa mo sa Pilipinas yan, maghihirap ka, no? Dito sa Royal Brompton Hospital, they do operations, mga bypass operations. Ilan yan every day. Kalkulahin mo in Philippine money at ang mamahal yan. Pero dito, we just get it for free. Diba?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're truly, tama ka, Sonny. I mean, we're truly, truly very lucky to have the assistance. But as I say, the initial outlay, kung a family of 4, no, it could mean not, truly struggling, and not even, sometimes they just don't know where to find it because.
Taka mo na yan, yearly nile-levy ba yan? Yearly ba nile-levy yan, attorney?
Hindi po. Every time magpapasok ka ng application, nung kailangan magbayad. So, kung
Application
mapasok
for
application,
renewal ng ILR, ng parang working permit mo, something or whatever?
yeah. So, if you're making an application for limited leave to remain, so hindi ka kailangan magbayad ng IHS kung indefinite ng application mo. Pero kung limited leave to remain ka nga lang, so sabihin natin first lot of 2.5 years spouse visa ka na, pasok ka dito 2.5 years.
Mhm.
Tapos kailangan mong i-extend uli dahil kailangan mong panibagong 2.5 years, no? So at that point, kailangan mo magbayad nung IHS uli, no?
So habang mga ina-apply mo o binabayaran mo, yung tipong nasa limited leave to remain pa ang status,
Yeah.
magbabayad ka niyan. Pwede bang i-advance yan? Kunyari next year na mag-expire, let's say, for renewal. Can you pay it in advance para nga ma-beat mo yung deadline?
Hindi. So you pay that fee when you make nga the application.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Alright.
unfortunately.
So kailangan, ang mga swerte lang, yung mga tipong medyo pwede na mag-apply ngayon, ng renewal, no? So isasabay nila. Teka muna, kailan nagsimula uli yan? Attorney, would you know? Kailan yan?
Yung IHS?
Kasi, yung limited leave to me, hindi ko inabot yan eh.
The IHS fee, I think came into play in, it could be 2013, not that long ago actually. I think.
Kasabay ng mga 2012, 2013, kasi majority of the changes happened in 2012, di ba? Most of the changes.
Lots of things happened. Yeah, in 2012. It could be 2012 or November 2012. I seem to have that in mind. O kaya 2013.
Okay. At least along mga ganun panahon, more or less.
Opo.
Oo.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least, ano yan, malinaw na ho yan sa atin, no? Ayan. Ano ba to? May tanong pa siya, no? Attorney, last na lang, ha? Okay lang ba?
Opo.
Attorney Lira, sabi ni DJ Red, hindi lumabas sa board natin, sa pinakaano natin, sa may mismong lumabas, no? Teka muna. Basahin ko lang to. Attorney Lira, 10 years lang po yung indefinite ko. Pag renew ko ba, magbabayad uli ako sa home office? 10 years ulit ba yon? Thank you po. May 4 years ba pang natira sa indefinite ko, Attorney Lira? Ilang months po before renewal po? Thank you po. Anong may 4 years natira sa indefinite?
Yeah. So,
4 years going into the 10 years? 6 years ka na? Hindi ko naintindihan yata yun.
So, siguro itong nangyari. So, ang biometric mo, yung biometric na binigay sa kanya, yung card nga, no, yung para bang pang-insura lisensya, may paso yung sabi doon, settlement, may paso nga lang na may petsa usually on the right hand corner, no? Pero kung indefinite ka na, ibig sabihin, settlement status ka na, no? So, hindi naman kailangan na i-renew mo uli to get another indefinite. That indefinite na eh. Permanente ka na dito. So, pagka mapapaso na o paso na yung card mo, kung ayaw mo pang magpasok ng British passport application, na naturalization British passport application, ang kailangan mong gawin is kailangan mong palitan yung card mo. So, you need to apply for what's called a no time limit stamp. So, bibigyan ka pa ni bagong card. But it's not a visa application na. Yung nga lang, ipapalitan mo nga lang yung card mismo. So, hindi ibig sabihin na mapapaso na yung indefinite mo. Kailangan mo nga lang panibagong card. So, para bang yung mga passport natin, no? May expiry date yung passport, no? So, kung Filipino passport holder ka, may expiry date yun. Pagka mag-i-expire na yung passport, hindi man ibig sabihin na hindi ka na Pilipino. Pinoy ka pa rin, no? So, the same thing. You still have indefinite leave to remain. Yung nga lang, yung dokumentong nasa iyo, yung BRP, yun ang mag-i-expire, yun ang mapapaso. So, kailangan mo nga lang palitan. So, you don't need to apply for a further indefinite leave to remain. Kailangan mo lang palitan yung card. And the application form at the moment is the NTL, the no time limit stamp. Pero kung ako ikaw, if you want to, of course, kung gusto mo maging British, truly look into that now kung gusto mo maging British.
Ayan. Eto, may isang lang dito, may comment pa rito, no, kay Gianna yata bago tayo magpaalam. Ang sabi niya, attorney, thank you so much po, Attorney Lira and Sir Sunny. Thank you po. May ganito kayong program na nakakatulong sa may mga issues dito sa UK. Email ko po kayo tomorrow morning. Nasa work po ako tonight. Thanks po ulit. More power to you both. Ayun. So, ayun, parang
Yeah.
acknowledgement and thank you. And she promised to email you, no? Ayun.
That's nice.
Okay, well, I guess actually overtime ho tayo na 1 hour tayo na overtime pero napasarap kasi pagka ganyan, di ba? Pagka
Yeah.
masarap nag-enjoy ka, wala yung time flies so quickly, no? Pero pag medyo hindi ka bored na bored ka, parang ang tagal naman. Tinitingnan mo yung oras, di ba? Ganon. Okay.
Yun na nga.
So, I'm sure everybody enjoyed din dahil natuto sila. They're thanking us, acknowledging the program for being informative to everybody, So, yun nga, as sinasabi ko, you don't have to be involved or yung kayo mismo may problema sa immigration. The mere fact that these things are educational, that you're learning, finding out, di ba, natututunan natin, importante na ho yun. And when the time comes, and when you know somebody who has that problem, either because of the stock knowledge that you've gained through watching this program, pwede natin siguro bigyan ng certificate yung mga pa-exam tayo, attorney, doon sa mga lessons na binigay natin. O, bigyan namin kayo certificate. You have passed the Immigration Corner program.
Yeah.
Tapos, di ba?
Yeah.
Meron kaming permanent attorney, tigi-isa. May certificate kayo.
Yeah.
Diba?
Stamp tayo.
May stamp tayo, pipirmahan natin. Di ba? For watching. Kasi this empowers you. The knowledge that you have empowers you in a way. Yun naman ang importante ron The empowerment.
Yeah.
Ayan.
At saka yung mga viewers natin, it's truly I'm grateful and I'm humbled na nanonood nga kayo. And yung topic nga natin ngayon, sabi ko nga kay Sonny, the idea actually came from a viewer last week. That tinanong niya ako and I then thought, yeah, tama siya, no? That's actually an issue that does come up, no? So yun. So I actually, yes, I say I got the idea for today's topic from our viewer last week. So so kung meron kayong mga discussion na gusto yung tignan nga natin, or you want me to actually deal with, I'm happy to receive suggestions, no? Either tawag nga kayo dito sa amin on a happy Thursday, o kaya email me and say, okay, pwede bang pag-usapan natin ito? Kasi I know a few people na ito nga ang problema nga nila. And I'm happy to be led by you, and as I say, thank you for all the ideas, and yung participation nyo. Kasi it makes it interesting. Tama ka, Sonny. Happy Thursday is never boring.
Tama ka. Participation. Kaya nga, di ba, sabi ng isang singer, the best parang payment na natatanggap nila is yung accolade, yung palakpak. Di ba? That's the happiness that they get. In other words, here, the interaction, the comments, the concern, yung parang, involved sila, the participation, the engagement that we get from them is, parang, ano ba tawag dito? Masaya na tayo. Ganon. Masaya na tayo doon sa ganon, di ba? Dahil, maski paano, hindi tayo kumakanta o parang tayo nagpe-perform attorney pero walang nanonood. Yung ba nandun tayo at least
Tony,
we know that somebody's no, we can hindi, baka naman kung sumasayaw ka. Pero what I meant was we are reaching out to them. Yung mga ideas, nuggets of information that you gave out, nakakarating naman sa kanila and they can relate to, because if ever hindi sila makapag-relate to, we probably did not get the complete question. May mga missing parts pa. Ganon. Kasi for you to totally appraise, di ba? What's before you, you as a attorney nga, yung knowledge, kasi you'll have to base it. Kaya nga pagka sa law, di ba? Facts of the case. Mga ganyan pa yan di ba? May mga history pa yan Teka, sabi ni tawag dito sabi ni DJ Red, nagpasalamat lang siya, attorney, sabi niya, ano lang, diba sabi niya, wow, present ako every night. Ano ba yun? Yun ba yun, sabi niya? Hindi yata, parang iba yung nakita ko Yun ba yun? Oo. Ang sabi yata ni, and ito, nabasa na ba? Okay po, thank you so much. Yun ba yun? Attorney Liz, sa information, thank you so much. At may program kayong ganito. Thank you. Ayun, yun. So,
pleasure.
Ayan. Sino to? May pumapalakpak. Sino ba to? Si Emily Sept. Nawala yung palakpak niya pero yung mukha niya nandyan, no? Oo. Nawala yung palakpak. Palakpak na sa nakikita natin, no? Uh,
Yeah.
so, si Riz Gios Mendez, ito, thank you. Pero hindi rin lumalabas eh. Thank you. Meron siyang thank you na ano ba tawag doon? Kilala mo yan?
Emoji.
Riz
nakikita
Gios.
ko. So,
Ito yung nakita mo yung palak. Ayun, yung thank you nasa taas.
yeah.
Ganun pala nangyayari dito. Interesting to. Yung palakpak, nasa kaya? Kuna ko lang ulit, attorney. Ayun, nasa taas yung palakpak.
Taas.
Oo. Tapos ito, may lalaki pa rito. Ayun. Kaya lang, natatakpan ako. Diyos ko. Kawawa naman ako. Kawawa naman ako.
Pero ang ganda, no? Mga emojis.
Oo nga, may effect pala. Ngayon ko lang nalaman. So, hindi siya nag-contain within the space for the text. Because it was ano ba tawag yung emoticon o graphics o graphic art. So, it came out. It jumped out of the text box. No?
Yeah. So, Sony, 3 na tayo.
Oo nga eh. O, 4 tayo, attorney. Diyan yung mukha nung... 4 yung mukha niya eh, no? O, may ito pa. Ayan. Ayan. O, kita mo? Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oo.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oo nga. Oh, yeah. Ito. Hindi ko alam kung lumabas. Ay, ito hindi lumabas tong isa. Ayan. Yun, nasa, yung mga thumbs up at saka smile, nandun within the text box. Pero yung kamukha nung kanina, na halimbawa, itong heart na yan. No? Ang pangalan niya, Inday ba? Inday Analu.
Yeah.
Inday Analu.
Salamat. That's such
salamat.
a nice.
Ganda niya. Cute pala yan, no? Ito mga bago to. Ngayon ko lang na-experience to. Oh, kaya lang katabi ko.
Ganyan ang itsura ko sa umaga.
Ganyan ba ang itsura mo sa umaga? Oh, ito ang itsura mo sa umaga, attorney. Ayan, nakasmile with love. So with love naman. Thank you. Watching from Wandsworth. Sino yan to? Lenny Cordero. May watching from, Lenny Cordero watching from Wandsworth.
Hello, Miss Cordero.
Ayan, mabuhay. Magpapaalam na ho kami. Alam namin, napakarami ho ninyo mga, we want to thank you guys, no? Pero ugaliin ho ninyo as early as 8 o'clock. Dapat 1 minute before 8, nakatutok na kayo. Diba? Unahan.
Opo.
Siguro, baka magbibigay kami ng konting pa-premyo siguro, attorney. Magbigay tayo siguro ng, Doritos, no? Kung sino unang bumati sa atin. Diba? Katuan lang. Diba? Okay lang yun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Laro-laro lang natin. So let's play a game. Let's make this fun. Sabi nga it's nice yung learning with fun ba? Diba? Meron kasing learning na nakaka-bore yung subject. Tapos, diba? Meron namang you're enjoying it. No? Hindi ko alam. When I was teacher kasi ako, attorney. I'm a teacher. I took up education. I took up education sa UST. And one of ang aking major ay English. So I would teach the voiced and voiceless th. 'Di ba yung this, 'di ba? Yung these, 'di ba? Silent though yung voiceless and voiced th sound. So ang ginagawa ko sa klase ko noon, I would have a Manila paper. Lalagay ko yung current hit song na sikat na kanta. And if I can find mga TH, mga words na may with TH, yun ang i-underline ko, yun ang pag-aaralin namin. Just to drive home yung mga sounds of the voiced and voice and voiceless TH, no? Voice, nakalimutan ko na tuloy. Yun, kakanta kami. Tapos enjoy sila, kakanta. Tapos class, our lesson for the day is yun nga, di ba? Yung breath, yung mga breathe, di ba? So, voice, tsaka yung voiceless, breath, tapos breathe. Yan, yung mga voiceless D. Ay, ano ba yan?
Yeah, so, mas interesting. Yan, tama ka.
Para lang to make it fun because enjoy tayo, di ba? Parang teleserye itong Immigration Corner. Immigration Corner. Dahil buhay ng tao, drama ng tao. Okay, attorney, sige, magpaalam na tayo. Hindi sila matatapos sa kakabati sa atin. I'm sure andyan sila. Sige.
No. It's always an interesting thing. Gawin natin, Sonny. So, next week, just for fun, unang babati sa atin, send them Dorito. Na hindi lang isang Dorito, but Dorito bag.
Dorito bag?
Yeah. As a
okay.
prize.
So may papremyo tayo. Ang papremyo natin, katuwaan lang ho. Okay lang. Ato, ano lang to, parang kasi Happy Thursday eh. Although dapat seryoso subject matter pagpasok namin. Good evening ho. Magandang gabi. Ito kasama ko si Attorney Lira. Attorney, magandang gabi sa iyo. Ganun, hindi tayo pwedeng seryoso eh. Di ba? Masyadong formal. Let's make it fun. We're learning and then it's fun, di ba? Who says that ang immigration napakakailangan seryoso? Medyo nagtatakutan tayo rito o let's make it fun, di ba? Ganun lang.
Yeah,
So, ano ito? Wow.
Yeah.
May, wow daw. Sabi ni Inday Malo, wow. Wow din. Ayan. Hindi natatapos
No,
yun. Sabi nila, wow. Ayan. Watching from Wandsworth. Sabi niya, ito to. Sabi ni Inday wow. Sabi niya, wow. Sabi, may papremyo. Tapos sabi ni DJ Red, wow. Ayan. Lahat na sila. Wow.
Okay.
Paano yan?
So, wait, okay.
Hindi.
Bibili ako ng Doritos, okay?
Ang problema, Tony, hindi. Kung ang nanalo sa atin, taga Newcastle, o di pupunta lang si Rita dito, pipika pa yung Doritos mo. O, di ba?
No, papadala ko.
Papadala natin. Sige. O, katuwaan. Ayan, ha? O, kasi kami dalawa ni Attorney, paborito namin Doritos, no? Addict kami dyan sa Doritos. So, parang this is a special parang ba tawag dito, parang nakakatuwa. Let's play a little game, no? Although seryoso ang immigration, ha, but don't get us wrong, ha, seryoso to, kaya na parang Happy Thursday, di ba? Yun ang essence nun, Happy Thursday.
Yeah,
Diba?
and also immigration can be absolutely tama ka, nakakatakot sometimes, and it's very serious nga. And it can be quite confusing sometimes, and it can be extremely stressful. But there are happy aspects, especially kung makuha nyo. Yung nga, lagi mo sinasabi, kung matapos na, no, you get definite, para bang nanalo ka sa lottery. And I think you absolutely sum it up, because for maybe for the first time in a long time, no, na you feel free, no. That kung ano man gusto mong gawin, kung ano man gusto mong pagtrabahuhan, o gusto mong bumalik sa atin, pabalik nga dito, hindi problema. So all those things, of course, are very important aspects in life. So there are great things also, yung pinag-uusapan nga natin. Okay, ang topic nga natin ngayon, what can go wrong? But you also have to look. It means to get to this stage, nakakuha na sila ng indefinite, which is obviously a great thing. So it's serious, and certainly we treat it with the seriousness nga that it deserves. But so life is too short. So a little bit of fun, I don't think would go amiss. So next week, sino mang unang bumati sa
mag-message,
atin?
Meron tayong Doritos. Katuwaan lang. Small token lang na nakatuwaan lang namin because it's fun, it's let's make it fun. Let's look forward to in fact bigla nag-cross sa mind ko yung mga problems, kunyari 10 iraraffle natin ko, yung parang kunyari may 10 problems na present tonight, iraraffle natin, di may yung the problem of the night, may wins Doritos. Pero hindi na yun, iba na yun. Ano to? Sabi niya, nag-react. Alam mo, attorney, kung sino-sino itong nakikita ko lumalabas na hindi, we are enlarging our viewership to people that we haven't heard before, no? Ito, kamukha na si Jane Yang. Jane Yang pa pangalan niya. Sabi niya, thanks, Sir Sunny and Attorney Lira. Doritos with dip po dapat. Meron pa. Inobliga ka pa na may dip pa. Meron ba Doritos may dip? Hindi ko alam na meron. Meron ba? Alam ko yung cold...
salsa.
Diba? Okay. Wow. Grabe ka naman. Ikaw talaga, Jane. Doritos lang muna. Diyos ko. Baka mamaya pati soft drink siya, isama pa. Di ba?
Yeah.
Mamaya i-require pa nila. Kailangan yung coconut drink. Di ba?
Yun na nga. yung buong merienda. No?
Buong merienda na. Baka gusto nyo, dinner for 2. Kasama pa kami ni attorney, no? So, dinner for 3, 4 tayo. Okay. Well, nakakatuwa lang ho. At least nakakatuwa tayo. And it's nice that you guys are, parang enjoying and being there, no? Mag-react lang ho kayo. Mag-message lang ho kayo dyan. Okay, attorney. Paalam na tayo.
Sige po. Yeah. Look, happy Thursday to all. Yeah, thank you talaga. Thank you for joining us. It is truly interesting nga yung mga sinasabi nyo. And we always welcome the viewers. And we try and deal with as many questions as we can nga. Pero yung mga nahiya nga kayo, truly email me, no? Kung gusto niyo tawagan ko kayo, email me your number and I will call you back. And I hope at least to be able to point you in the right direction, or hopefully even kung simple nga lang na it could be that you then I'm able to relieve you of the worry, no? And I'll be very happy nga to do that. So again, I mean next week, happy Thursday ulit, but with Doritos on top. But yes, certainly happy Thursdays today.
Well, maganda rin. Happy Thursday. At least nagbago na ho. Namubang demarcation line. No? Friday evening is the start of the weekend. And courtesy of Lisa Hubbs, we have moved the goalpost to an earlier day, Thursday, kasi happy. O baka sinasabi ni Lizzie, in a way, it's parang feeling kasi pag weekend you look forward to it and you're happy because you can do probably things that you want to do, no? Na hindi mo magawa during work days. So tama ngayon, happy Thursday, and there's a feeling of an extended weekend starting today. Ayan, only in our program did we start the weekend on a Thursday night sa programa ni Attorney. Happy Thursday. Okay. Well, yes, exactly. There you are. Okay. Ayan, nako. Oo, nagpapasalamat si okay, ako na magpapaalam na kapag paalam na si Attorney, pero isasama ko lang tong pagbati lang para ma-acknowledge lang yung mga panghuling pagbati kasi minsan, di ba, nagpaalam na tayo tapos biglang maraming pumasok, no? Bago lang tayo magpaalam, thank you po Sir Sunny, Attorney Lira, God bless po and good night. Ayan. Sino yan, Attorney? Mari Chris Agor Kalunod? Ano ba basa mo? Kalunod. Ayan.
So, Mari Chris Agor Kalunod po.
Kalunod. Mga unique ang apelido nila, may Kalunod, no? Maganda yan. Okay. Alright, well, thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Sa ngalan ni Attorney, no? Like I said, ako ho ay kanyang assistant alalay dito. Taga-switch lang ho na mga pagbati ninyo. Pero ako'y natutuwa rin. At least bilang alalay, nalalaman ko ho yung mga bagay-bagay. I am empowered. No? Because itong makatulad nito, ang opening statement ni Attorney, it's never automatic ang, di ba, yung naturalization. Meron kasi mga things can go wrong with a lot of things. Yes, itemized tonight, no? So, di ko na natin itemize. Marami, 10, marami yan. So, maraming salamat ho sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay ho sa amin ni Attorney, at lalo na dito sa programang Immigration Corner. Let's do it again, no? Let's make Thursday happy and make your Thursday happy by coming in early. Meron ho tayo, remember, kung sino unang bumati, no, ay mananalo ho ng Doritos. Padadalan ho namin ng Doritos. Katuan lang ho yan. It's a little fun game, side parang katuan lang. So, let's do it again next week. Let's work out yung i-open namin yung Zoom ID line so that if you wanna call, mas kompleto and we can hear your voice para ma-explain ninyo, no? At least we're gonna open the lines, Attorney, kung gusto nila magtanong lang. No? Kung gusto nyo o hindi, okay lang yan. Basta andyan available if you want to use it. Okay, so we'll see you again on Thursday. Maraming salamat sa ngalan ni Attorney. This is Sunny here saying thank you very much for keeping me and keeping us company. Whatever you do, guys, hit it with your best shot. Bye!